All right, we got Mario Rinaldi in today. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. MMA/UFC fighter. Been gentlemen's clubs for, 15, 20 years of your life, pretty much?
17.
And you started at Tootsies, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the biggest one in the world overall?
I think as far as the last time I checked, it was the biggest one. It used to be a BJ's Warehouse. It's massive.
Is that what it was? It was wow. So now, when you're in high school, like, were you playing sports? What were you doing?
Yeah, it was. I did football, wrestling, and track.
Yeah, you look like a football player.
Yeah.
I would say
I used to run too in track, actually.
Yeah.
Well, 220.
You have that. I don't know if you know who Willie Rofe is. He's a Hall of Fame. Yeah, he was in here. He's like this, like two of you, and you're huge.
He's one of the strongest guys in the NFL.
Yeah, but he was quick though. Even now, he came in, man. He could move quick, everything.
Right.
But you look like a football player.
Yeah, that was my first love, but I ended up really succeeding in wrestling. So I, just kind of naturally, organically ended up doing mixed martial arts after that.
So when did you start the mixed martial arts?
Probably after like 2 years after college. So I would say 2002 maybe.
And,
no,
that's when you like really started to train and take it seriously?
Yeah. I had a buddy from high school was training with Dean Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
And he just like, hey, you should try this. And it was like, all right, sure,
What did you love about it? Just to, like, taking the anger out or the fight in it? Because it's a tough sport.
I'm not really an angry person. I can have no emotions and pull your arm to the back of your head if it just doesn't bother me. I'm okay with violence, but the competitive nature of it basically is the reason why.
Now, when you go to train MMA and you were trying to take it to the next level, I mean, you had some big fights.
Yeah.
You even come up on the cards. Now, what is the most important thing to train? I mean, I know endurance is huge, but what else? Because you're getting hit with leg kicks, you're getting hit with, I mean, that's practically bare knuckle, right? I mean, how much padding is there when you get a straight right?
Those gloves are 4 ounces, so it's not a ton of padding. As far as training, I mean, I'd say probably best to train to your strengths and then focus on conditioning, So like, it's good to be well-rounded, but for instance, I was a wrestler / submission grappler. So, my training focused a lot on getting a person to where I can exploit my gifts.
Because your strength was taking people down, right?
Yeah.
So then you practiced a lot on getting them to the point where you would be able to make your move to take them down.
Right. A lot of transitioning from striking to takedowns, which is very important. So my game pretty much, I catered my training to what my game would be for whoever the opponent was, which almost always defaulted to getting inside, getting them to the ground and submitting them,
And then what's your diet like? Like as you evolved and you got good where you're starting to get real fights, you're going up the ladder. Now, when you're up the ladder and you're mid-level, okay, and you got a fight coming up, how long do you start training prior to the fight? And then what's your diet like during the training up to that fight?
Most fights, I would say you like at least, 12 to 8 weeks to prepare if you're in shape already. Which most mixed martial arts fighters, we're going to say close to fight shape year round because fights like always popping up and falling in your lap. So I would say most guys are going to go 12 to 8 weeks. And, throughout that training, diets vary so much that, some guys, I never dieted because I was a heavyweight and didn't really have to cut weight. So I just kind of worked hard and ate whatever the hell I wanted to eat because, I like my pastas. I love pizza. I love hamburgers. So.
You were eating hamburgers like prior to the fight? I mean, not actually prior to the fight, but during training?
Yeah, man. I would eat whatever the hell I want. I'm not a big sweets guy, so I don't drink soda. So as far as that stuff go, but I mean, man, I would just eat whatever I want. If it was a burger, it's a burger,
You got them genetics. My buddy, he's a bodybuilder, and he's like that. Like he most guys prior to, a pro like bodybuilding thing, like he did in Pittsburgh or whatever, usually like the week before you're watching sodium, water, he was gigantic, but he would have to eat, he couldn't cut because he would lose too much. So he had to eat rice, and everybody around him hated him because they're dying. They can't wait till the fucking show because they just want a slice of pizza or whatever it may be. And here's this guy, his coach is saying, eat. You're starting to look flat. So you just got that genetic gift.
Yeah, man. That's actually my diet now. I eat without it.
So it's been your diet forever.
Yeah.
Now, how much are you lifting? When I pull this up on Instagram, because this is pretty recent, right? It's the one where you're pumping the dumbbells.
That's probably a couple years back.
So how much is that right there? And if you're listening to this is Mario throwing dumbbell pressing.
150-pound dumbbells.
Like it's nothing. Look at that. What is that, 10?
Yeah. I normally, so I don't really get heavy anymore, what I consider heavy. So I normally do what I call centennial sets, 10 sets of 10.
And is that to save your body, like to save your everything?
I just don't have the desire anymore to get under 500 pounds, So
and kill yourself.
Yeah. It's just, there's no need for me to do it anymore,
Yeah. And how many total fights did you have?
That's a good question. I think the total number was like, I think I ended up being 11-5-1, or 12-5-1, or something like that.
Yeah, I know you only lost once.
Yeah,
that was it.
So, I lost a couple times, but I had a no contest with this UFC veteran where I went to go to take him down, and he fell through the ropes.
He fell through the ropes.
Yeah. So
that,
and then I had I lost to Roy Nelson, another UFC guy, and Ron Waterman. So a couple high-level guys, but
now, and we were talking before, the difference between MMA and UFC. MMA is basically UFC. It's just UFC is branded. As far as the fighting and the style and the rules, it's the same.
Yeah, it's essentially the same. I mean, different regions are gonna have different rules. Like back in the day with Pride in Japan, you could soccer kick people in the face and you could stomp them in the face and stuff. But that for the most part, the rules are the same in each organization.
This podcast is brought to you by Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet, Monster Energy. It's the ideal combo of the right ingredients in the right proportion to deliver a big bad buzz that only Monster can. Monster packs a powerful punch, has a smooth, easy drinking flavor. Athletes, musicians, co-eds, road warriors, metalheads, geeks, hipsters, and bikers dig it. You will too. Monster Energy is more than just the green OG. Monster has Monster Ultra, Juice Monster, Monster Hydro, Rehab Monster, Dragon Tea, Monster Max, Muscle Monster, and many more. Buy on Amazon, buy on Walmart, or go to monsterenergy.com and believe me, you'll find a place. Unleash the beast. Monster Energy. From me watching it, how do guys like you and McGregor and all, how do these guys take these kind of hits? They're always talking about, football concussion, all this, all that. No, forget about football. I mean, this is basically closed hand, fist to the face, body, not to mention the leg kicks. Those are no joke, man. I got golden gloves. I got 4 golden gloves, but I do not want to fight an MMA guy or a UFC guy. I'll just give you the money. You won. Here. I ain't taking no leg kick. Fuck that. I'm out.
Leg kicks suck.
Yeah.
Leg kicks suck. When I fought Rico, I kicked him 3 times and he was limping after the fight. But I mean,
there's a clip on YouTube of that. Yeah. I can't play it because it's YouTube, but
right. Yeah. So there's I mean, I guess it's like anything else. The more you condition your body to take it, the more you're able to take it. So, what people don't see is the hours and hours of sparring that goes into preparation for fights. So, I mean, and what I was saying earlier is most MMA guys, they're going to stay in fight shape year round because as you're up and coming, you want to always be ready for one of those big opportunities. So they're literally sparring 5 days a week for an entire year or the entire career. Some of them.
Right. Okay. So it's not like boxing where you fight twice a year. Like MMA can call you at any time and say, "Hey, Mario, we have a gig for you. Can you be ready in 30 days?"
Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes with both.
I mean, I took a fight when I fought on Showtime. I took that fight.
Congratulations, by the way.
I got the contract Friday. I was fighting the following Friday.
Wow.
So, when you're young and you're hungry, you want to be ready to go when you get opportunity. So, because it's just like we were talking about sponsorships, the more of a draw you are, or the more, you're out in the public's eye, the more money you're going to make on your purses, the more money you're going to make with the sponsorship. So those guys really honestly, a young MMA fighter, what they put their body through is insane.
Absolutely insane. Did you see that last fight? It was maybe 2 weeks ago. It was an upset. I can't remember his name. He had him in the corner, and then
George Masvidal?
Yeah. Rogan was announcing it, and everybody was going nuts. Did you see that?
I caught a little bit of it. I was working, so I couldn't really.
Yeah.
I haven't really been able to sit down and enjoy a pay-per-view in so long because I'm always working when they,
You got to pre-record, right?
Yeah.
And watch at 5 o'clock in the morning when you get home and nobody else is home.
Yep.
I watch it. You have to explain it to me after you see it. Text me and let me know what you saw, because it was like he took a hit, and he took a hit to the jaw, and it didn't faze him. Then he went after the other guy, the underdog. I always mess up his name, and he was rocking him. But then the other guy put his hand. I should have put his name down. Put his hand down a little bit and just got one hell of a clock, and just plummeted him.
Wow.
It was. I mean, it was crazy.
That's that puncher's chance we always talking about.
Yep.
So yeah, with those 4-ounce gloves, man,
No thanks.
one shot can really make a difference.
Now, do you think 10, 20 years from now, there'll be all these brain injuries from these guys doing it? Or do you think, like you said, that the amount of training that people don't realize that you put in and other guys, you're basically training your brain to take hits so that, am I right? Like you kind of train your brain to be able to take blows?
I don't know if that's even possible, but
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible to train your brain, but I think you kind of just conditioning your body to endure pain, and you do train yourself how to respond when you're dizzy or whatever the case may be. You learn how to do that stuff, how to get off the canvas when you go down. But I think the brain injuries might not be as much as football because the nature of the sport. There's up, it's down, you're getting punching, you're grappling. So it's not sustained strikes, not all the time. Sometimes it is a fucking war and these guys are punching each other for 5-minute rounds. But in most cases, you're clinching, you're holding people against the cage. The research I've done is that the boxers, the reason why they have so many brain injuries is because they're allowed to continue after they received the initial injury. Where in mixed martial arts, they're gonna stop the fight, and they're not gonna let you continue after you receive that initial brain injury. So I don't know.
That's interesting.
We'll see in 20 years.
Yeah, that's interesting though, because I never thought about it like that. Because when you box, you might go 12 rounds. And you're already beat up, and unless you're going blind or can't walk out to the center of the ring, they keep the fight going.
Right. You can fall each round,
yeah,
and they're going to let you keep getting up and taking that punishment, which is, from the research I've done, that's where it's happening.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then same with football, because say, you're a lineman or a running back and you take a hit, well, your adrenaline's still running. You got 50,000 people in the stands. It's still a game.
Right.
Then if it's not the next play, it's the next play. You're getting that ball again and running into guys your size and Willie Rose size with a concussion already there.
That's what people ask me all the time. Hey, why didn't you try football? Why don't you get back in rugby, semi-pro football? I'm like,
rugby,
dude, I don't want a 280-pound guy running full speed into me. I'd rather get kicked in the face.
Yeah,
because that's a lot more force than a punch.
Yeah.
Right. So those guys are some of the most athletic, explosive athletes on the planet, and they're clashing into each other's body at 4.5 speed, 280 pounds with a 600-pound bench press, 1,000-pound squat. It's a totally different animal, you know what I mean? And it's sustained too. It's every 15 seconds they're hitting each other.
Hard. Because I was a running back in high school before everything got weird, and I had full scholarships, and
Right.
my life took a turn, or I would have went to college and taken the full scholarship, and then I saw Willie Roaf come in, and then another linebacker, and I said, I am fucking glad I didn't play because I can't imagine,
Man, it just hurts, man. It hurts.
And then you're going to get the ball like 3 plays and
Right.
later. Did you think Brady would come back?
Brady, I thought he was done this time, but I will say that I'm not extremely shocked that he decided to come back.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. That guy's, I don't know what vitamins he take or whatever the case, how much growth hormone he's on, but
Give it to me.
I'll take some of it.
Me too. You stay that good looking for that long and still is
And,
probably the best 30-second quarterback left in the game ever.
I mean, arguably still top 2 quarterbacks in the league.
Who do you think's the other one?
I would probably say who was the kid in the Super Bowl this year? Was it Mahomes?
Mahomes. You got Mahomes. He's up there.
Who was the other kid? The other kid
from
was,
the Bengals?
Yeah,
I forget his name.
he had a phenomenal game.
Yeah, he did. I can't believe the Bengals made it to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
Well, I would say you have to go with Mahomes right now.
Yeah. Mahomes.
Aaron Rodgers still in the conversation.
Yeah. He's good, but he doesn't have the right people around him, I don't think.
Right.
Rodgers. Mahomes, I think he's good. Hopefully he comes back from that injury.
But I mean, legendary. None of them stacks up.
Not even close.
None of those guys are ever going to duplicate what he did.
He left Belichick, the Patriots, and the first year at Tampa, I saw him get hit more times in those first 6 games than I seen him get hit in his whole career. And somehow he won the Super Bowl. The first year leaving Belichick,
Right.
when everybody was like, he can't win without Belichick. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, it really just, I always said, I guess I'm a Patriots hater, I don't know, but I always said that, it's the system that makes that team run so well. But, I mean, he proved that it was actually Tom Brady.
Yeah, and he got his people around him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get, what's his name? Gronk.
Gronk.
You got to come if I get Gronk, man.
I'm here, bro.
He's our guy. He's our guy, right? So now, what got you into the management aspect of your life?
I guess it kind of always been like team captain as a junior for football. It's, wrestling captain in college, wrestling captain. So I just kind of always naturally kind of take charge of situations, right? Very even-tempered. So that's something that's important when you're managing a bar, because you really snap and run a person's head through a wall if you want to every day, but it's just not good for business. So
especially when this guy up here on the screen is fucking running the joint, right? I don't think you want that.
Right. So, I mean, honestly, it's just kind of like it's the bar business, man. There's a lot of turnover. There's a lot of people in not the best place in their lives, right? So, when you find a person that displays leadership skills, I guess in any business it's true too, it's hard to find people that's intrinsically motivated, and it's something that I've never really struggled with. So as my high school coach would say, the cream rises to the top,
Yeah, you're right. So you're always a leader. You're always a leader because you're well-balanced with your temper, and it sounds like people just gravitated toward you to lead them. Maybe
Right.
those that didn't have that aspect in their personality, to be the leader. You were the leader, and then that led on to
Right.
management, right?
Yeah, pretty essentially, yeah. And I'm just always trying to do the right thing, that's hard to find people that's not really pushing a self-serving agenda. And it's kind of like, for me, I'd rather just do the right thing so I don't look over my shoulder, so.
Especially now.
Right.
Because now, what is the right thing?
Right. Sure. And when I say right thing, I mean like just treating people the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm capable of being a bully, but for what?
Right. What's the point?
What's the end game? You know?
And you're, fast forwarding, you're the manager of Monroes right now. If you're a bully, people aren't going to want to come. You would only be hurting yourself, right?
Yep.
So
exactly.
You'd hurt the bottom line. So
right. And if you hurt the bottom line, you don't have a job.
Especially in that industry, right?
Right.
That turnover is big.
Yeah. Well, because you got so many people that you have to do the right thing by. I mean, you got your staff. Obviously, the staff has to believe in your leadership skills. They have to share the vision that you're trying to accomplish. Then you have the dancers, which is a totally different. The entertainers is a totally different aspect. They got to like you. They don't show up to work. You don't have girls. You don't have products. And then you got the guests. The guests got to like you too. You got to make them feel good. So each different category there, you got to find a way to be genuine and to show them that you appreciate them or whatever the case may be. So good managers in adult nightclub business, they understand that,
Yeah. So when you get how do you get the job at Tootsies, the first one? It's funny that your first job at a gentleman's club is, at the time for sure, was the biggest one in the country.
Right. So
did somebody call you or how did it happen?
I just fell into the job actually.
Did you?
So there was a guy training, we call him El Toro. He was training at American Top Team and he was working there. And I wasn't the only fighter there. They had like Thiago Alves was working there, Lou Polly was working there. So this guy was kind of like funneling us in through the gym. So the fight game's very, it's not as glorious as people think, especially back when I was starting. It's like you have a decent payday, and then by the time you pay your taxes on it, by the time you pay your managers and catch all your bills up for the 3 months you didn't fight, then you're looking and you're like, okay, I'm back at square one. So I kind of just, asked the guy for a job on the weekend so that I could train still. The pay was decent, and it just kind of progressed into working more days over time. And then,
Did you start there as security?
I first started there as a door host.
Mm-hmm.
Then I left for a little bit and ran a small bar I ran a small bar up in Stewart called La Roca. It was crazy. One day it was like a hood club.
Yeah.
The next day it was we would do like death metal, and then the next day it was
country
Mexican music. The next day, so it was a crazy.
Kind of cool though.
Yeah, it was cool. It's different shit. One day you can get shot. The next day you fucking But so and
you
then
get shot one day. Next day you're doing fucking salsa, right?
Or in a mosh pit, fucking the next day.
Oh yeah, with the alternative, right?
Right. So but then I went back, and when I went back, I started as a floor host, and then became a VIP manager. A VIP host, and then I took opportunity with Spearmint Rhino because I was looking to get into management. So
you went Tootsies, and then Spearmint Rhino was next.
Right.
Was that the one here?
Yep, here in West Palm Beach.
What year was that? 10, right? I think I saw
05.
05. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
05. What was it?
Was it 05? No, you're right. It was 10.
This podcast is brought to you by Liquid IV. This is a product I always use after I run, work out, and do the sauna. It's a great way to hydrate the body and feeling your best self. All you do is 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water. It hydrates the body faster and more efficient than water alone. 3 times the electrolytes as other sports drinks and contains 5 essential vitamins, B5, B12, B3, B6, and vitamin C. It also tastes great. Flavors like watermelon, lemon lime, strawberry, and many more. Buy in bulk at Costco or go to liquidiv.com and use the code MSCS Media, no space, for 15% off. No other way to hydrate the body.
You're right. It was 2010.
It was 10 to 16, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, 10 to September of 15, I think.
So a solid 5 years.
Yeah, 10 to September 15. Rhino was cool. It taught me this market here in West Palm Beach, which to me is one of the most unique markets in the industry. I've worked in Miami, I've worked in Texas, I've worked here, I've been all over the country. I got friends in clubs everywhere, and West Palm Beach is a weird market, man.
It is.
It's so fiercely competitive, and it's so small, unlike like Vegas and Miami and, where everybody kind of like intermingle and stuff here. It's just a fierce market, the competition, you know.
Yeah, because you got Scores here, you got Rachel's. What they call Double D's? What is it now? Mayor's?
Or
it was Mayor's, right?
the Manor.
The Manor. That's a stupid name. And then, and what is it now?
Right now it's Aura.
Aura. Now that's kind of cool name.
Yeah.
Aura. So you got what, 5 or 6?
Oh, you got
right?
Cheetah. Yeah, you got. I mean,
Cheetah.
you got everything. And then you got those, you know, like the smaller clubs too. So
I remember when I first came down here in 15, I had heard that Rhino was like really starting to get dirty and grimy and like not really a nice place to go. Did you see that toward the end?
No, not when I was there. I think that transition happened over time after, you know, some of the old guard left. As Monroes got stronger, you know, and some of us started going and leaving that place and leaving it in the hands of people that didn't understand the market. You know, certain things work in different places, you know, like what you do in Dallas might not work in West Palm Beach, you know, or it'll change the whole brand of your product, you know. So, or for instance, what you do in Vegas. Vegas is a churn and burn, you know, so you get people in, you burn them out, and you never see them again, you know, or you see them 2 years from now and they forget all about the way you treated them. So West Palm Beach is very unique. When I was, right before I left Spearmint Rhino, I think we were doing really well. I know that the president of the company called and congratulated me on being able to draw money from the business and stuff. So, I mean, I didn't see it like that. It did change over time.
Maybe after you left, it changed, and then that's when they called Tony in to try to fix it up.
Right.
Know.
So, you know, Tony came in with a vision, and the problem, you know, I don't want to bash that company, but the problem is very hard to manage a club from California. You know, if you got a vision, you gotta be watching it, because if your vision is different than the leadership, then, you know, it's going to morph into something that you're not accustomed to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was here for about 6 months, but then he left. But
right. They don't let something take hold long enough. You know, 6 months is not a good barometer on, hey, it's this vision going to take you to where you need to be, you know?
Yeah, I see your point, because you come in for 6 months, you fix it up, and then you leave, and then you base it on whatever manager you bring in to run it the way you want it to, and when they don't, then what? You know, I mean, Tony's just a fixer, and then he's out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
He does his job.
Yeah, he was a guy. I mean, the guy opened Dre, so you mean, there you go. You know,
so he obviously knows
clubs in the world.
Yeah.
So.
But when you leave, you got to have the right manager to run
and
it.
that's the problem, isn't it? Every boss in America, business owner, they looking for that guy that shares the vision. You know.
And, you know, when the big guy's gone, then, you know, most times things change,
right?
You know, quick. So you go from Tootsies to Rhino. Did you enjoy Tootsies more than Rhino, just because it was so huge?
Well, I got to tell you, so Tootsies was, and I still feel, is one of the most amazing clubs in probably the world. It's literally a machine. I don't want to talk about numbers, but the numbers they do in that place is unreal. If you knew the numbers, you'd be like, how in the fuck? But the numbers there are unreal. And I got the guy right there is on the right, my friend Danny's from Queens. He's one of my best friends in the whole world. And we met.
That's why I put him up for you, because I saw that you put your best friend. So
we met at Tootsies, and you know, we're gonna be lifelong friends. And
that's
I met the crew, and I was hanging out with Christian last night, also an entertainment manager there. And those guys are going to be my friends and family for the rest of my life. So in that regards, with Tootsies, I had the most fun I've ever had working at a job in my life.
That's so cool.
Because 200 girls a night. We were running around in our 20s. I was a pro fighter. I had abs. I thought I was the best looking thing on the planet. A lot of perks of the trade that I thought was okay. You know, my philosophy on the business has completely changed. But as far as having fun at a place, Tootsies was the place that I had probably the most fun in my life. That crew of guys, we just had a great crew of guys, and it was like a party, man. Going to party every night, you know. So I didn't look at it as a business back then. So as far as having fun, Tootsies by far.
And it was like a brotherhood too, because you met two of your best friends, and 15, 20 years later, you guys are still friends.
Right,
You know,
yeah,
that's
sure.
the coolest thing, because as time changes and people change, you don't know who's loyal and who's going to stab you in the back. But guys like that,
that guy, he'll take care of somebody for me.
that's what I'm saying.
And I'll do the same for him too,
Right,
so.
right. But it's really hard to find, especially now, because now everybody does this: the phone, the social media shit.
That's another reason you can't smash people anymore. You can't do it.
You can't do nothing. It's crazy.
I mean, look at George Masvidal down there in Miami.
I know.
Just punched that guy in the mouth, and everybody had the cameras out.
Yep. Well, it's
going to cost him a lot of money.
Look what happened. Whether it was, I don't think it was set up. They keep trying to spin that. But like Will Smith, he goes in, slaps Chris Rock, whatever. Bro, he's a comedian. He's a comedian. Rock is one of the best. Would you not agree ever? He's up in the top 5.
He's definitely a legendary comedian.
You got Pryor. You got Eddie Murphy. You got Chappelle's funny as hell.
Chappelle's amazing.
You know, Rock. He's in the top 10.
Yeah.
If you sit in the front row with Chris Rock, I don't care who you are. He's probably going to hate you.
Yeah, that's kind of how he's made his reputation with his stand-up. He's always fucking with the crowd.
Yeah, so don't sit in the front row.
Yeah.
But then they let him go up there and hit him. Now, if you or I would do that, we would have aggravated assault. We would be in jail right now.
Well, he refused to press charges, so that says something about him.
Well, maybe he's not a bitch. You know what I mean?
But you better not be talking shit.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you don't want to get shit talked on, then don't sit up front. He's a comedian, and stop. I know it's your wife, and I know she's not, but he's joking around. And what that did now, because they already fucked Chappelle, right? So who knows if he'll come back the same? I hope so. Now Chris Rock. Now how if he comes back out and now he's hesitant to say A, B, C, and D?
Right.
They're gonna fucking kill comedy.
I think it's an isolated incident. If you ever watch comedians in their interviews, they're actually pretty intellectual people.
Yeah.
So I think he's smart enough to ration it out, use some rationale, and understand that it was just a one-off. And man, that couple in particular, they've been having a hard go at it. So I mean,
yeah, I just hope it doesn't change.
It probably had nothing to do with Chris Rock, honestly. He probably just had enough of shit, like everybody prying in his shit, his wife fucking around on him. Mm-hmm. He probably just said, fuck it, I gotta draw a line in this.
Because in all these years, you never heard one bad thing about Will Smith.
He's been perfect.
Perfect. But like you said, when you got that woman trouble at home, maybe he got, fully caught doing whatever they said he was doing. If you're trying to get out of the doghouse, getting up on stage and whacking Rock, I mean, that might...
I saw a meme said that something about he got on stage and smacked him, and then she told him when he got back, Tupac would have shot him.
That's right, because she was with Tupac for a minute there. Why do you think he thought about that? That's probably why he was crying at the fucking podium, the little pussy. I don't care, man, because he doesn't understand.
He cries a lot.
Well, he needs to stop it, and he needs to stop being like that, because he doesn't understand, because... even with the podcasting, that affects people that podcast, because when these guys do this shit, then they start censoring more.
Right.
Because they think, oh, okay, now we can fucking censor because Will Smith did it.
Right.
It's like everything's getting played into
so weird the way society's going right now with the censorships and...
Bro, it's bad.
They'll censor a guy from saying something that's a little crass, but then, we have to allow all kinds of other soft,
Yeah.
If a kid who needs a panic room wants to cry and lash out, he can, but then you'll censor a guy for being crass. It can be a two-way street. If he can say what he needs to say, then we should be able to say what we want.
The problem is there's no company big enough now that can compete with these guys. I mean, nobody. There's nobody that could pop up and take a spot where you could say, within reason, speak your mind, because if you can't have open conversation, nothing can evolve and get better and whatever else. If you got to walk on tiptoes, what the fuck is the point?
And some stuff is just, some of it is just like, people just being bitches, but basically, if it's the truth and it's a fact, just because you don't like it, that doesn't make it not true,
Well, they think it's not true.
Right.
So whether they're left, right, it doesn't matter. Who cares about left and right? But if the company or Silicon Valley feels that it's incorrect and misleading, then you're hit.
Right,
You
for
know?
sure. Yeah.
But nothing we can do about that.
No,
Other than what's really crazy is they get timeout cards in the military now.
that's nuts.
It's nuts.
That's nuts.
So you got a Marine that would fight for us that could put a timeout card if the general or
During
whoever.
boot camp, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
timeout card. Yeah, that's great.
I thought the whole purpose behind that was really to kind of just reprogram you.
Yeah. No, they should be grabbing the motherfucker that took a timeout card and said, look, pal, when you go to war, you're not going to have a timeout card. So now I'm going to grab you and show you what it's like in war because you might go to war.
Right.
Like a Marine with the timeout card, bro?
Yeah. I wouldn't want that guy fighting next to me.
Hell no. I'll go by myself.
Yeah.
Right?
You're better off.
Yeah. But back to you. So you get to Tootsies, then Rhino, and then you decided to leave Rhino because of a better position, basically, right? So then is that the first time you work at Monroes?
Yeah, so I left Rhino, I think September of 15 or it might have been 16. I can't remember, but I left Rhino in that September and went over to work with Scotty and Joe over at Monroes. So it was and it was a good decision at the time for sure, 100%. So.
And then you went there for what, 2 years?
I think I was there for. I left in 19, so I was there for September of 19, so 4 or 5 years, and then I left.
And you shot to Texas.
Austin. Yeah.
Tell me all about Texas. I got to hear about this.
I ate so much barbecue.
Did you?
For the first 6 months of being there, I was eating barbecue 3 to 4 times a week.
How's the barbecue chicken?
It's amazing. The food's
salsa on it?
amazing. They don't believe in sauce in Texas.
No.
It's all about the smoke in Texas.
So they just take straight chicken and barbecue it.
It's all smoke. It's all about the flavoring and the smoke. And it's the barbecue sauce out there. You only get 1 or 2 flavors, and it's not really that great. But the brisket and everything is all about the smoke ring. And they had a place, Terry Black's, which was ranked number 5 in the world in Austin, and then they had I can't think of the other guy. This other place, I never even got to eat the brisket there because every time you go, there's a line wrapped around the building.
Wow.
So
that's the best when you drive up and you can smell that barbecue chicken smell.
The barbecue there, nothing compares.
There's a guy over here that has it at the gas station. Don't know where he got the chicken. Who knows? Probably in Belgrade. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you what, I can smell that
in
shit.
Belgrade, I tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. Belgrade's interesting. But I can smell it. And every time I stop, I don't know what the fuck is on it. I don't know where I got it. But that smell of that barbecue chicken, god damn.
Wow.
So now when you compare West Palm atmosphere to Texas, Austin, Texas, what is the difference in lifestyle, in the gentleman's club industry, and the money that people pay?
Right. So I always tell people that South Florida is not real life. This is not the way most Americans live in other places. We're fucked up here. We're degenerates here in South Florida.
Why do you say that?
We live the party. People work all week in Texas, and you see a person in Texas, your regulars, you see them twice a month. In Florida, you see them 4 times a week. So people just like to party here, and people like to tan and go to the gym and wear designer clothes, and it's just totally different than most places in the U.S. I think the only other place that compares to South Florida would probably be, I haven't spent a lot of time in New York, but New York and Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, because like I say, people here live the party. They're not waiting for one Friday a month to go out like in Texas. It's much more conservative over there in Austin. We were starting to see some of the Silicon Valley guys. I had bought a house out there when I was there, and Tesla had just put a gigafactory 10 minutes from my house.
Oh, wow.
It was huge. I've never seen a building this big.
He goes big.
Yeah, it was huge.
I had his partner in, Robert Beto. Holy fuck, bro. That guy blew. Your mind fucked after him.
Right.
Anything you thought, your mind is just completely blown.
Right. Those guys are, national treasures maybe even. Those guys changing the way people look at cars and energy and everything.
Yeah, man. I mean, he was sitting here breaking down, proving with like diagrams and shit that there was never a big bang. Because, you know, all your life you think, of course, there was a big bang.
Right.
I mean, the guy had the facts. I mean, it was just crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah. So that I would think the biggest difference there between Texas and here is the conservatism in Texas is you know, it's very family oriented. Austin is not. I don't feel Austin was a big tourist area, even though, you know, the live music and stuff. There was certain events like South by Southwest, and a couple other music festivals that they had there that would bring in some tourism. They had a Formula One race there that brought in tourism, but South Florida is like the home of tourism.
The Mecca.
Right.
That
so
in Cali, right?
Right, yeah. So like you get people here, they're in vacation mode, so they're gonna spend a lot more money because they're in vacation mode, you know, and then it just kind of sets the norm for what people got to spend to really have a good time in the nightlife. So it's, you know, the money you spend here is a lot different than Austin, Texas. You know, when a guy comes out and, you know, they drink just as much though.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Right. So if I compare alcohol sales to alcohol sales, we stopped serving at 2 a.m. and they would keep up some Fridays and Saturdays with South Florida alcohol sales.
Yeah.
So they get so shit-faced over in Texas, it's ridiculous.
But financially, the club didn't do nearly as well.
No,
as
because you didn't have that.
Tourist.
You didn't have that high-end tourist that comes in from New York and is gonna, you know, blow $20,000 in a night. You know what I mean? A guy spent $5,000 in Texas. You're like, oh, this guy's a big shot.
Yeah.
You know, so because they're home, so they're not gonna come and spend
$20,000.
Right.
Yeah, they're doing down here. They either have it because they're fucking loaded and moved from New York or wherever the hell they moved, or they're on vacation and it's a one and done.
Right. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest difference, and I think the way people value beauty and vanity here is a lot different than Texas. Texas, you know, you got guys, they're gonna come out in their jeans and a real tree hat, real tree shirt, you know what I mean? And,
I know, man.
And some boots, you know, and it's just here you would look at them like, bro, you can't get in the club looking like, you can't go out like that, you know?
Yeah, you guys would kick them out.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, that was one of the biggest differences, the value on what we offered as a club, you know? The value wasn't the same to them.
I used to have to go meet my friend Gulamaro in McAllen, Texas. It's kind of down a little bit.
Yeah, I know where it is.
So at the time, I was well off. You know, I was driving nice sport cars. Well, so I was going to go rent a sports car. And he's like, nah. The girls don't like that here. They want these big-ass trucks. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And he pulled up. It was the first time I had met him. Dude, and he was my size, you know, 5'9", 5'10", maybe. And, you know, my build. And literally, like, 2 steps to get up on this fucking truck. So there, in McAllen, if you roll up in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, or you got one of them decked out 9-foot trucks with lights under it with the sound system, you know, like when we were 16.
Right.
They don't care about the Lamborghini and the Ferrari. They want that big truck. I couldn't believe it.
You're outsider with that Lamborghini there, McAllen.
yeah, no, they don't like
that guy.
Yeah, who's that cracker out there? Yeah. I probably can't say that, but I'm a kind of, whatever, you know. But that's how it's crazy. It was really crazy.
Yeah.
Now, as far as you living there, did you like the living atmosphere better there than here?
You know, South Florida's home. I jokingly say I'll never leave again, but it's actually probably the truth. You know, it's just I have years of networking here. I enjoy the beach. You know, I didn't miss it until I moved to Texas, and then I started like, wow, fuck, I didn't know how lucky I was. You know, I have kids, so we enjoy Disney and Universal. We go maybe 3 times a month. So for me, South Florida's home. But Austin is an amazing city, bro. An amazing city. The live music. I like country music, believe it or not. So
I actually do too.
Yeah,
I like Kenny Chesney a lot. Yeah. Kenny Chesney.
I'm really into Luke Combs right now.
I like Luke Combs and our Rascal Flatts.
Yep, I love Rascal Flatts.
They always come with that.
I like George Strait. I like Sammy Kershaw. I'm weird in that regards. I like everything, man. So, but Texas, Austin, it was great. You know, I was in Austin, so we had. If I went to San Antonio, I can watch the Spurs.
Oh yeah.
I can go to Dallas and watch the Mavericks. I could go to Houston and watch baseball.
On the Rockets.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
So I caught a couple Dallas Cowboy games while I was out there. So I mean, it's just so much.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Cowboys are out there. I love the owner. I can't believe
Jerry Jones.
I love him. I don't
He's
care.
the best, bro.
I just love him. He's just so. He just
don't give a fuck.
He's just the boss.
Yeah.
To me,
I got enough money to say I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I don't fucking care about you. And he looks good too. He hasn't aged in 20 years either.
Yeah.
He's looked the same.
In a cryo chamber at night.
Yeah. We got to go talk to them and see what him and Brady are doing, right?
Right.
And McMahon.
I don't know what Brady's on something else, man. I don't know what the hell he got going.
I don't know, this girl probably got him some skin cream or some shit she's baking back there.
But so I mean, Texas, Austin's a great city. Austin's great. Dallas is great. I didn't care for Houston much. But man, Austin was amazing, man. And with that tech boom that's going on out right now, the housing market's insane there because people are moving there from California. They're buying everything up cash. So it increased the value of the homes there tremendously. So I bought a house there and did okay with it.
Good for you.
And it's so big, man. And so much potential, you know. And the government, the red state's got to figure it out, man.
Yeah.
The industry's booming there. It's growing. It's tons of people there moving there every day. I mean, it's a good spot. I would say I would rank it number 2 to South Florida for sure.
Yeah, I've only been to McAllen and Dallas, and I just remember wanting to go to a game. I don't know if it was a football game or but I had to go to Houston, and I didn't realize how big Texas was. If you're in Dallas,
Huge.
Dallas to Houston, it's 2-3 hours to get over there. I mean,
Huge, bro. It's huge.
They say that Ukraine's about the size of Texas.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's still a fucking big place. I mean,
Texas is huge, man.
Huge.
It's huge, and there's so much to do. It's a different vibe. You know, you got hiking's really big there in Texas, and you have all this scenic hiking you can do. Yeah,
I don't know fucking hiking.
You know, you got to do it once or twice just to say you did it.
Just I did it. Yeah.
You know, so when people come visit me, like, you know, my girlfriend came out there when I was out there, so something different. You know, hey, let's go for a hike. You know,
Did you ever kayak?
I'm definitely afraid to get in one of those things and flip upside.
Good. I'm glad you said that because I can use that because I'm not going kayaking.
You know what? I have no interest.
Me neither.
I have no interest.
Why do I want to paddle fucking or whatever this?
No
shit is?
interest, bro.
I'll get on a boat. And
I don't want to paddle board.
No.
I don't want to.
I don't want to move.
No.
If I go into any type of boat in the water, I don't want to move. I want to pay somebody to move me.
Right.
Right. We're working all the fucking time.
I'm not paddling shit.
I ain't paddling the motherfucking thing. I don't care what you're offering me.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, no. I'm probably too big for a kayak. Honestly, I don't even know if I can fit in it.
What are you right now?
I'm
You're
about
pretty solid.
345.
Really? You don't
Yeah.
look 345.
Yeah.
But when you're solid like that, you know, wow, 345. Fuck. Phew. I don't want that right from you, but I don't care. But is it cheaper to live there? Like rent, things like that. Like if
Rent
commercial property.
Rent was when I was there was cheaper.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I don't think any market is keeping up with South Florida's inflation as far as rent, and it's insane. I don't think any market's keeping up. But they were moving pretty fast there too. From the time I got there, pre-COVID September, to the time I left, the market was flying.
It was fine.
Yeah, but it still wasn't the $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment in West Palm Beach.
My house went up $200,000.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, my house is not worth $500,000. Like right now, it's not worth $500,000.
Right.
No way, no how, no way possible, and no way does it go up 200, 150,000.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of scary. Well,
It's
it is scary
insane.
because it's got to pop at some point.
Right. Well, I'm thinking it's not going to really pop. I think it's just going to stop growing.
Well, yeah, that would be the better outcome,
Right,
Where
yeah.
it just stays the way it is.
Or that means a lot of people can lose a lot of equity in their home. But
Yeah.
I think with the interest rate's almost 5% right now, so that's going to chill everything out. And then I read a report in February where new home sales and new home builds are slowing down.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's
Because-
great for me because I'm getting ready to build a
Yeah,
house.
yeah, because you got to get the land and then build on
Right.
it. But now it's just not the time.
Yeah.
Because like you said, they'll
Mine existing right now is
Insane.
you might as well burn your money.
Yeah, because in 2, 3, 4 years it's going to go back down.
Yeah.
I think that I never thought about it, what you just said. That's really important because it might just get to the point where nobody's buying anymore.
Right.
And then whoever did buy, especially here, the people that are buying here now, they like 500 is like a drop in the buckets now.
Right.
You know,
you pay from New York. You paying $500,000. You can't even get a box in New York for $500,000.
No, the Hamptons, a studio at the Hamptons is $7,800 a month. I only know that because my friend was there before he got himself jammed up. $7,800 for a studio.
That's crazy.
That means like it's just like this with a fucking
an efficiency, basically.
So Texas was better pricing wise when you were there.
Yeah, it's probably still a lot more reasonable than South Florida. But I mean, these two markets right now nationally are just blowing everybody out of the water.
And their taxes are really good in Texas. Is it the same as here?
Yeah,
same exact thing.
Yeah.
Because when I was
state tax,
no state, yeah. Because when I was moving from Pennsylvania, it was either going to be Texas, California, or here. I liked L.A.
Right.
But remember, not now.
Right.
This was 14.
Right. Well, yeah, it was
popping.
Is that Arnold out there running the joint?
Yeah, it was popping. But
they really fucked that state up.
They fucked that state up. And even then, the only reason I didn't go to L.A. was because of the business tax. It's fucking crazy. You'll get killed. It's like it's double what it was in Pennsylvania. I mean, it's just
it's not a business friendly state for sure.
No, it's a celebrity friendly state that $1 million is nothing. But it went to shit. But at the time, it was awesome to go to. But now this guy, fuck. Gavin, bro, they got like 20 million ballots to get rid of him, and he's still there. Same with New York, but they got the new guy in New York. I don't know how he's doing.
The new mayor?
Yeah.
Well, at least he took the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates out of there.
Well, he took it out for the athletes, but not the people.
No, wow.
Yeah, that's what's fucked up. So for because remember, the point guard, really good point guard for the Nets. He played with LeBron, Kyrie Irving. So like he couldn't play when he went to New York. So that the governor, mayor, whoever he is that you're talking about, he stopped the mandate for athletes, but workers, same thing. So if you want to work, you still have to have that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's sad too.
New York is single-handedly responsible for destroying the housing market in South Florida.
New York and California alone.
Those guys better call down here and get a little handout there because they put a lot of money in real estate markets. Man.
Yeah, where's the kick?
Yeah, right? Jesus Christ.
And Cali too.
Yeah.
They should be kicking Texas, and there's a lot of Cali here, too. So then, when did you decide, I've had enough of Texas, I want to come back home?
Really, it boiled down to my family situation. I have a daughter from my first marriage.
Congratulations.
And it made sense to get her closer to her mom. And then my girlfriend, fiance, we had a kid, and she never wanted to leave South Florida. She followed me because she was in love with me. I don't know what's wrong with her, but she wanted her kids to grow up around her parents and her sister and her brother and the kids. So it was just too much pulling me back. The opportunity was right to go back to Monroes. I always loved the owner there. He was always good to me. And the door was always open to come back. So it's like, why am I going to fight this,
The family wants
it doesn't matter to me. I can live in a fucking box, you know? So if it's going to make them happy and if it's best for the family, then that's the decision I had to go with,
The hell with it, right?
I fought it for like a year and a half, and then I was like, you know what? Why am I fighting this? I'm going to make more money back home. Everybody's going to be happy. My happiness is surrounded by them being happy. That's the basis of my happiness. So it's like, I might as well just give in.
Yeah. Because they're not they're not going to stop.
It was going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
So it's either
eventually going to throw in the white towel.
Right. So it's let's stop fighting. The opportunity was right. The saying seize the time. It was right there. So I just we came back.
What I liked about Texas was it seemed to me because I had spent a couple weeks there doing business, and I liked the fact that it seemed like not everybody was in your business. Like everybody was kind of like here, but more, in my opinion, more out there. unless you're in a small area, everybody kind of just did their thing and mind their own business. They did what they do. They, what is he doing? Fuck him. Don't care. Don't know. That's just how
people
it
don't
seems to
give
me.
a fuck in Texas.
Yeah, I like
really,
that.
I enjoy that too. They don't. I mean, they don't give a fuck. They all got a pistol on the hip.
And they don't give a fuck.
Fuck with me. I ain't gonna fuck with you.
We got that under control. All right. If you need some moose, let me know. I got some out back. Right?
They don't care. And I enjoyed that part of Texas too. That people believed in giving people their space and your rights as a person, and just it's not bothering me. Leave me the fuck alone.
They believed in giving you your own self space and your family privacy, and if you need something, you'll come to them, and if they need something, they'll come to you. Otherwise, we just exist here. That's what I liked about it when I was there.
Yeah, and there so many people there. They don't have time really.
Yeah.
Well,
like Pennsylvania, if I go back now, the same people that were doing whatever they were doing 20 years ago, they're doing the same shit 20 years later. They know when the neighbor coughs. They know when the neighbor goes and takes a dump.
Right. It gets you. That's all. I guess you call it small town USA. All over, it's the same way, right?
I call that get yourself jammed up real quick kind of town. Unless you're gonna.
Well, Philly's so big too, though. It's crazy that it's so big and people still like that.
They're just so nosy.
Wow.
It's just real nosy. It's not like here. I noticed a big difference here, and especially Texas. Arizona was like that. People weren't nosy.
Right.
They kind of just mind their own shit.
I guess because so much space, maybe people just
so much space, so many people, like you said.
And Philly, everybody kind of like sitting on top of each other there.
Yeah, all sitting on top of each other. Everybody's going to the same pizza place to get their pizza, the thing that goes over, like the good pizza at night at 3:00 in the morning.
Right. How about Gino's? What's the other place? Pat's.
Yeah, Gino's and Pat's.
See, which one do you prefer?
I didn't like either of them.
No,
because I like my steak chopped up.
Oh, okay.
So I like Jim steaks. Do you ever have Jim steak? Do you?
I've had I go to Philly maybe once a year, and I eat. Cause what's that? Gino's is right across from Pat's, right?
Yeah, they're right across from each other.
So I go and I eat a Pat's, and then I go to Gino's because I always forget which one's better. So I prefer Gino's.
You like the one that's just a slab of steak and the.
But they chop it.
So okay, so you like Pat's because Pat's chop it a little bit. Gino's just slaps it and puts the cheese on top and whatever.
I think when I just had Gino's, they chopped it.
Maybe it's the other way around.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was good either way. I mean,
it's good for
it's good.
I like Jim's. I like
Jim's too. They got that the little heat packet. You put the heat packet on there.
Banging. And Miami Subs is up there too.
Is it really?
Yeah, they were there when I was there. They were there in 2008.
I never seen a Miami.
Yeah, we were like,
I never seen a Miami Subs outside of Florida.
Yeah, Miami Subs is on Walnut Street in Philadelphia. Yeah, bam, fucking all day long.
I like going to Philly for a day, and then that's about as much as I can.
Kind of in and out.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. For whatever reason, I was surprised they put marijuana recreational. I thought they would be the last fucking place. They're before us.
Right. Well, it's a lot of the blue states are moving out of the way with that legislation. They're letting it happen,
They should. In my opinion, they should. I think they should.
Look at fix the economy in Colorado.
Yeah. Colorado, Portland.
Yeah.
Go look up Portugal, the country. Fucking crime rate's down 80%. Everything's legal. You can walk in, buy heroin, coke, whatever you want.
Right.
If you get nailed, you go to a real rehab. Real rehab. No charges, no nothing.
They're saying that, legalizing it could potentially have an adverse effect on addiction. So when you make it legal, you're going to have less addicts.
Well, Big Pharma don't want that.
No, for sure not.
Because they want to keep pumping you with the Suboxones and all the shit that is just a Band-Aid and not work so that they can keep helping the cartels bring it in. Because I've had the real narcos in, and the government helps them bring it in.
For sure.
Obviously.
There's no way you get that type of shipment and nobody knows about it.
Man,
you can't even fucking wipe your ass and nobody know about it.
They got 17,000 fucking satellites up there. They can see through the ground like heat radiation, on that. Yeah, well, like the satellites can see down like heat. So if there's 10 bodies through a tunnel, there shouldn't be any heat in a tunnel, right?
Right.
Up. What I mean? That's
just like they say about the guns in the urban areas. Like, how the fuck are they getting there?
Probably because the cops don't want to go in there, which I don't blame them.
I knew a guy. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but he would get trucks of guns and just they just appear out of nowhere.
Sure.
And military grade guns, so it's crazy.
And when they're military, that would mean that they came from the military, and unless they
U-Haul trucks. U-Haul trucks of it.
Just plain daylight too.
Right. I was gonna buy a 50 cal off them.
Yeah. Don't doubt it. They just left $65 million worth of weapons with Afghanistan.
Right.
So what the fuck? So now
obviously a little loose with the inventory.
And then this guy the other day says on national TV in Poland that Putin should resign as a leader. Like, is he trying to push this nutcase to send something over here? Because he can. And China's right behind him.
Right.
Fucking nutcase, bro. He's going to get us all fucking whacked.
Yeah, he's not doing a good job. I don't, whether you right, left, indifferent, if you're critical of him, you have to be honest with yourself that he's doing a terrible job.
Yeah. And I'm not right, and I'm not, I've had Roger Stone in or whatever, but I'm not for either.
I'm down the middle.
Me too. I'm for whatever's good. I don't care if they're Democrat. I don't care if they're in the middle, whatever that one's called. I don't care if they're Republican. Whoever is the best is who I want.
Right, for sure.
And this is definitely not.
It's actually a little embarrassing that, the only people we can produce as a country is Joe Biden.
Just imagine, Mario. You're a manager, right? You got to have big time meetings. Imagine Joe Biden. Imagine what Kim Jong-un thinks of Joe Biden. When they sit down and talk and Biden says, yeah, how are you? Kim Jong-un is thinking, what nuke do I want to work on when I get back today? Right?
Definitely not a deterrent.
No, fuck. What are you going to do? We have no control over it, so just keep grinding. So now you leave Texas, you come back to Monroes. Now, when you came back, how different was it from when you had left? Because you had left in 15, 16. Now you go back in around 2021. Did you notice a big difference?
Well, I left in 19. So when I came,
excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when I came back, it was only they were closed for COVID. Everybody was closed for COVID, and not much can change when you're not open.
Yeah.
But the system that the owner created there, and the management philosophy and the mission statement, it's very hard for that to change because it's such a strong structure that it would almost have to be purposeful for it to change, right? So like the system wasn't broken. The place was the same, So I was just a familiar face coming back. So if anything, it's just a guy that added some comfort level to people who hadn't been there in a while or whatever the case may be. But the system was as strong as it was ever when I left, and it's the exact same when I came back.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because why fix something that isn't broken?
Right.
I see that happen all the time with people that, they think, oh, well, if I do this, I make it better. But meanwhile, they're blowing shit out of the water. Just let it go. Just let it go, because that one little change can kill everything.
So it creates that ripple effect,
Yeah. Now, during the pandemic, they still had to pay rent for Monroes, right?
Right.
They didn't.
No. They own the building, so.
Oh, they own the building? Oh, shit.
They own the
Imagine
property.
if they didn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they own the property, so.
There was Freedom Gym in New York. I was doing all the marketing for them. They had to close. It was like it was a place like when ball players would come in and athletes and whoever didn't want to be bothered, they would go to this gym, and I did all the marketing. Well, it was in New York, and during the pandemic, they were down 8 months fully. And now, for you to go in there one day, $2,500.
Oh, wow.
Well, so it was private. So like nobody.
Definitely not free, Jim.
No.
Only freedom.
Yeah, ain't no like 7 days free, and then if you want to sign up, no.
Right.
But it was for people that were traveling in there that didn't want to be bothered, But what happened was a lot of these super rich people, because I did their website, I can't say the names, but more than well-off people. What they did was during the pandemic, $2,500 a month to these people is nothing. the names, I'll tell you off the thing, nothing to them. They actually went and changed their credit card number or bank account number so they couldn't do reoccurring. So 82% of their clients changed their routing number, debit card, or credit card. So then when they would go to pool monthly, there was nothing to pool. So for 9 months, they were only able to reoccur payments at an 18% ratio when their income on a monthly basis was $4 million.
Wow.
8 months times 4, you just lost $24 million.
Wow, that's crazy. I had a couple of buddies up in had a buddy up in New Jersey with an MMA gym, and the gym owners really took a blow with the way the local governments handled the COVID, man. It should have always been, you're an individual, you make the decision that's right for you.
I never understood it, but, when they have an agenda, they have an agenda,
And it's all agenda, too.
That's all it is.
It's the left trying to make the right look bad. Oh, you guys mismanaging this thing, and they forcing and pushing stuff the wrong way. But honestly, it should always be, you're a healthy American and you do whatever the fuck you want.
I don't get it. I don't think there should be two parties. It's just like run, and whoever gets picked gets picked. Because otherwise, right? Like whenever somebody tries to pass something good, usually they're like either the Senate or the House is the opposite, and then it's just running. Whether it's a good president, bad president, okay. Half the time they're just running their head into a wall because nothing gets passed.
Because they're fighting each other.
Fucking crazy, man. But
even if it's a good bill, no, we can't pass it.
Just because of whatever side is in power at the time.
Right. And when you really dig into those bills, though, you see that there's a lot of fucking shady shit going on.
Those bills are like
money going to this organization, money going to. They always work it in the fine print too, and it's like, we know that you guys are getting handouts. Hell
yeah. It's like that, when you go sign up for any social media site, nobody reads all that disclaimer, but in that is, hey, we're going to put spyware in, we're going to record what you say, all kinds of shit's in, but nobody reads it. And even if we did read it, we wouldn't understand it. We'd have to spend 10 grand on a fucking lawyer to tell us what the hell it means.
Right. And some people just don't give a fuck about it.
Fuck it. Like, fuck it, I stay away from the shit. I go in there, post for business, and I'm out.
I say all the time, if I wasn't in the nightclub business, I would get rid of my social media.
Me and you both. I have no interest.
Because I need it for what I do, but man, I would love to just take a break from it.
Me
because if you really start looking at the time we waste on that,
bullshit.
We could all go back to college already.
Yeah. Well, that's all you see. Everybody's always on their phone.
Yeah.
If I didn't have it with the marketing and YouTube and Spotify, I would. I'm like you. I would go on it maybe just to laugh at the idiots once in a while, but that's it.
I honestly would just get rid of it, man. It's just so time consuming. And
consuming.
And then right around election time, it just gets so fucking disgusting on there with people arguing and.
I know.
It's fucking draining. During the election, I would actually not go on that much during the election season because it was just getting to the point where it's like, you guys need to fucking find a hobby.
Yeah. They did a study on like how bad they are because when it's called open source. So when it's open source, you could see everything that they do. When it's closed source, you don't know what they're doing. Kind of like locked and unlocked. So when it's unlocked, you can see everything that's within. And when they did TikTok, it was the worst of any of them. More spyware. Every time you click that TikTok app, more spyware gets put on than any other app, even Facebook.
That's crazy.
Right?
But it was originally a Chinese.
Still a Chinese.
Yeah.
What happened?
It just went through a different.
Well, what's kind of funny is that when Trump was in, right, they made the deal with not Universal, but a company like Universal. So while Trump was in, Universal was at the top. So of the paperwork. So it looked like Universal merged with the Chinese, but Universal had the percentage. The second he got out, the Chinese guy who actually was running it the whole time, he comes out and does a Netflix documentary about about TikTok. And it's 100% Chinese owned. I'm a coder by nature, so I can code. When you go into the code, it's all China.
Wow.
All.
That's crazy.
All.
I never downloaded TikTok.
Again, I only do it. I throw it like this video here, I'll take a 3-minute like funny clip or just something interesting to draw, post it up, leave, in and out. You know what I mean? I don't mess with it. But especially with yours, you have to use it.
I have to. It's required.
Is it actually?
I require my staff to do it, and I got to lead by example. You know.
Yeah, you have to. So now you're back. Now, how do you manage? I always wanted this with guys like you, and I respect it, and congratulations. How in the world are you able to maintain a relationship but manage a gentleman's club? Because I don't know if I've ever met a woman in my life that would be okay, that would not chop my balls off.
Right.
But then again, I'm not exactly, in the past, I haven't exactly been the best guy in the planet either.
Right. So it did probably have something to do with my first marriage and abruptly.
You think maybe a little bit?
Maybe a little bit. It wasn't the only thing, but maybe a little bit. But after my first marriage, it only dated girls that understood the business, right? In my 20s, I was a nutcase. I told you that. Tootsies was the most fun. 200 girls a night. Another 50 servers working and bartenders, you know.
What are you going to do?
We were routinely called in the office about our behavior in that place, right? So I learned the hard lesson, you know, that it's better not to shit where you eat. And the older I got, the more responsibility I got in the buildings that I would work in, and the more money I made, it really drove home the fact that you got to treat this like a business. So essentially, you know, that's all I do. I treat it like a business. It's not my playground. I'm not going to be running around fucking all the girls, because once you fuck them, you lose leverage.
Right.
Right. And management in a very special way is about enabling people and leveraging people to do or meet your expectations.
Now, when you put it like that, with the right girl, I could see how they could accept that, because you're saying, look, this is a business. If I go fuck this girl, now she's got leverage as in she can go tell the person that's above me, and I no longer have a job, or there's a possibility that I won't have a job.
Right. Or you lose the respect of everybody around you. So when you become one of those guys that's banging all the girls, they don't respect you as a manager, you know,
because they think they can just fucking get out of whatever shit that they did wrong.
Yeah, and I've seen guys that have, you know, the sweet dicks that, you know, think it's okay, and it always blows up, man. It always blows up in your face. And I learned that in my 20s, when I first became the GM of Spearmint Rhino, when I was a manager at Spearmint Rhino, I was banging one of the servers, and she was a nutcase. So she would get drunk at work and like chuck ashtrays at me.
Oh, she turned psycho.
Right. Right. After work in the parking lot, pulling and ripping my shirt, accusing me of having sex with other people. And it was just like, I don't ever want to fucking go through this again, because you can't respond how you would respond because you're at work. So it's like, you got to kind of take it. It's a fucking nightmare, bro.
Yeah, it's like you're at work. It's your place of work, and it's a girl too.
Right.
So what can you
have
really,
no recourse.
You have no recourse.
You gotta fucking take it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this girl was smoking hot, but she was nuts. And you know, like nuts, like almost run me over one time. You know, like
like
she was like
super psycho bitch.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So you just imagine how much shit I had to eat.
Well, Mario, you should have slowed down when you were giving her that, you know, when you were giving her the old Mario, right? You know?
I wish I could take credit for her craziness, but I think she might have just
just a fucking nut to begin with. Yeah, there's a couple of them around.
Right. So I just learned I'm not a guy that makes the same mistake twice. Right.
That's cool.
Lesson learned.
How did you get your mind like that? So, you know, you just said you never made... You don't make the same mistake twice. How did you get your mindset like that? Because me, I'll make it. Well, I'm better now, but forever. I mean, it would take a lot of mistakes for me to learn. How did you get to that point where, you know, you realize, okay, if I make a mistake, that means don't do it again, because this is what. Like, how did you get your mind wired like that?
I really think most of like my outlook on life has just come from being an athlete and a martial artist, man. So it's like, you know, when you compete in, you know, and you make a mistake, you learn from it and you move on, and you know, it's just kind of like, it's still like training. It's like sparring, but using your mind. You know, like the more you do something, the less likely you are not to succeed at it. You know, so when you just kind of learn how to bounce back from mistakes and you know, compartmentalize it and put it where it goes, and you work on a game plan, you just execute, and that's kind of just from sports, man.
Do you do Zen?
No.
You just remind me of a Zen. Like,
no, man, I'm just like, I'm not even into that stuff at all, man, in the least bit, man. I'm just like a realist. So, you know.
I brought it up because of Phil Jackson. Right. I follow the Bulls, and just your thought process, naturally, is kind of a Zen-like thought. Like, very calm.
Where I get that from. But I'm a calm guy, though. I'm very even-tempered. So everybody always saying, oh, you're so calm. But, you know, I don't know. Just... Well,
it's good. Well, then you don't act out a fucking character.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when where you're at, fuck. You
can't act out.
I can only imagine what you'd like to do most nights, but you're able to compartmentalize, and that's why you've lasted this long in this industry. I mean, to go, 15 years in this industry, that's not common.
No, it's not.
At all.
It's not. The high turnover rate in the bar business, and especially the adult nightclub business.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Even worse. How do you go about whatever club? It doesn't matter which one. When you're managing, are you, as the manager, are you the one who vets the girls? Do you vet who is hired and who isn't hired?
So every club is going to have their own system, right? At our club, every manager has the ability to hire a girl, right? And there's no real vetting system in place per se. It's basically a total, what does the show look like? Is she a girl? Is she the right size, right? Can she speak English? You know, is she entertaining on stage? You know, if she's the right size, how does she look with her clothes off? You know, and that's all a perception thing. So what I do when I hire girls, and I can only speak for me, is I try to find girls that would be attractive to a broad audience, right? So those girls who are like a niche, like a girl with a giant ass, right? I don't really hire girls with giant asses because it's only attractive to a certain group of people, right? I won't hire a girl with a bunch of tattoos if we have we got one that's phenomenal, but I won't hire another one because most 50-year-old business professionals don't think that's attractive, even though I like it. You know what I mean? I don't mind big asses, but I don't hire girls based on what I perceive as attractive. I hire girls based on what does a broader audience, what does a guy from Oklahoma, what does a guy from Kentucky and New York, if all three of those guys were sitting down, are they going to find this girl attractive?
That's a great thought process, because even if a guy does like a girl with tattoos, it's not like he's not going to like the girl that's super hot without tattoos.
Right.
But if it's a guy that doesn't like the tattoos, then she's one-dimensional, and that's all she's going to get.
Right.
That's really smart, man.
And our building's very unique because we cater to business professionals and a higher end clientele. So, you know, if I was in Miami, then I'll hire a bunch of girls with big asses.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? So you got to understand your brand. You got to understand you got to understand your guest base, and then you got to make those decisions based on who you're trying to be as a club and who you're catering to when they come in the building. So it's no real system, I guess, in any club in America. As far as that goes, maybe the system is that Peter is the guy that hires all the girls, or you got to go see an entertainment manager. But in that regards, every system's going to be different. But as far as hiring girls, it's kind of just based on whoever's talking to that girl, if they think she's hot or not,
So it sounds like it's based on, I think your strategy is the best. And I've heard a number of different ones, because it sounds like you base it on where you're at, atmosphere, right? Because like Miami, big ass, tattoos, fake boobs out the ass.
Miami's a music video.
Yeah, Miami's a music video. Yeah, right.
So,
But then, Texas might be, they don't like the fake shit. They want the real shit.
they do.
Right? So then,
And they okay with a little chubbiness,
yeah,
Texas.
they're all right with a little lip over the belly, right?
Right.
So then you would tend to that. That's a great strategy.
My hiring in Texas, there were girls I hired in Texas that I wouldn't hire here in West Palm Beach.
Yeah, obviously.
Because again, this is the land of milk and honey, everybody's hot here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when
you got a girl with a centimeter hanging over that thong.
Yeah.
Right. What's he doing with that?
In Texas, they don't care.
They want it.
You go into clubs in Texas, and the servers are overweight. The bartender's overweight. But we would never hire girls like that here in South Florida. Most places, anyway. Most clubs that are what I would say top tier clubs wouldn't hire girls like that. And it's unfortunate, but it's the beauty business.
Well, I guess if you're like that, go to Texas, you'll get hired. Right?
Or you're going to have to go work at one of the smaller clubs, but that's in a need,
for people.
And then that's also something that affects how you hire girls, right?
Yeah.
So, like if you go to a club and you got 10 girls working and 2 don't show up that day, then you're a 10-girl club. You might hire the chubby girl.
Like cheetahs, you mean?
No, I think cheetahs. I wouldn't say is in that spot right now, but
no, they were at one point though, aren't they?
I've always liked cheetah. I'll leave it at that.
All right. Honestly, I've never been there.
I like those guys. Cheetahs is a good. Everybody has their niche here in West Palm Beach, right?
Yeah.
So like Rachel's and Monroes, we occupy that top tier gentleman's club space, and then in that space, Monroes is adult nightclub, high energy dance music, party atmosphere, and then Rachel's is more of a sit back and traditional gentleman's club feel, and then you have the Cheetahs and the Spearmint Rhinos of the world who occupy that titty bar space where you're gonna hear some rap music. It's gonna get a little crazy. You guys can go in there and have a good time. And every club has its niche. So I think Cheetah's niche has always been that blue collar crowd here, and their day shift is one of the better day shifts in West Palm Beach.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, if you want that titty bar feel, you're gonna go to Cheetah or Spearmint Rhino.
Yeah, and just for the record, I meant nothing bad against Cheetah
just,
because there's a lot of guys that maybe they only have $150 and they want to have a good time, and just from what I've heard, I've never been there personally.
Right.
That's kind of like like the C scale, and then you have, from what I've seen,
right,
like the Cheetah, and then there's a couple other ones like that. That's kind of like C, and then Scores would be like the B kind of.
Right.
area.
So I would honestly, Scores is a titty bar feel too, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that I wouldn't rate them based on like a grade, per se. I would say that every club is going to have a different niche, right? So when you look at a Cheetah or a Scores, they're great places to go have fun in, but they're titty bars, right? And that's kind of that's the environment and the atmosphere that they're cultivating in those spots. So some guys, even if they got $1 million in the bank, they don't want to be in a gentleman's club because it's not crazy enough.
Yeah.
Right? So they're going to go where they're comfortable, and that's going to be, titty bars where you can whistle and yell and holler and scream, and the girls are a little more, loose.
Lenient.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everybody has their niche, right? So it's like comparing apples to oranges. So that's why I wouldn't give them a grade, because they're not us and we're not them.
That's a great way to put it, because that's like going and getting a McLaren, right? That's going to go 300 miles an hour if they took the governors out, the fuckers. Comparing it to a Toyota. Toyota's a good car. Probably going to run longer than the McLaren.
And going to save a lot more money.
Right, you save a lot more money, but you'll probably eat a Happy Meal or a value meal in the fucking Toyota, but you're not going to eat the Happy Meal in the fucking McLaren. You know what I mean? But taking nothing away from the Toyota, you know what I mean? Great way. That's a great way to put it as a businessman. Really,
yeah.
I'm impressed by that.
Right, and I'm friends with all those guys too. So those guys do a great job at what they want to do. That's what they want. That's the environment that they're cultivating. I watched
the McGregor fight with Floyd at Scores.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I just went there to see it, check it out.
Right,
and I should have went to a different place, but that's where
Anthony's. I love
went.
Anthony DeRosa.
Yeah,
you know Anthony?
Yeah, that's why I went for
Yeah.
I know him for a long time.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
not from here, I don't think. I think he's from up north.
Yeah, he's a northern boy,
Yeah.
but he's been here a long time. He's a good guy.
Very good guy.
He's a
That's
good
why.
I have a lot of admiration and respect for him.
Yeah, very very nice guy.
Yeah.
Very good and loyal guy too.
Oh yeah, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's a dying breed.
Yeah.
Sure.
What's that? Rare species.
Yeah.
Or about to be extinct.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
Do you think McGregor should have? I mean, I know for the money, should have fought Floyd.
That I'm conflicted on that. Honestly, I'll tell you why. It's because I think it was great for McGregor for financial reasons, right? But I don't think it did anything to help boxing. Definitely didn't help MMA. You know, I think Floyd dialed it back way back. Floyd could have knocked him out probably the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference between boxing and MMA. Boxers throw thousands and thousands and thousands of punches over the course of their lifespan, and they're so efficient and so crisp. From a fighter's perspective, I think it was a waste of my time because he didn't really fight him.
No,
He didn't really fight him.
He couldn't get to him.
He didn't fight him. I mean, McGregor has never been known for his cardio. So, you know, even though Floyd wasn't really, I don't think Floyd was really punching with intention, and I don't think he was punching enough considering Floyd Mayweather. And I don't think it was a good fight.
No,
I didn't enjoy watching it. I'll tell you.
No.
Besides the fact that I wanted to see him get punched in the face because he talk a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't enjoy watching it because from a technical standpoint, I don't think it was a boxing match.
No, and Floyd would have killed him anyway.
Yeah.
But Floyd did take a shot. He did take that one shot.
Well, yeah, there we go. We talked about that puncher's chance, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anybody, you know, I can fucking go throw a punch at somebody, you know. Anybody can throw that one punch, you know, but sustained over time is the issue.
Yeah, and I mean, for him to go against probably, in my opinion, the best defensive boxer ever, you can say what you want about Floyd. I mean,
Man, nobody can deny that he's one of the best boxers in the history of boxing.
the history. He
You can't deny it. If you deny it, you're just a hater.
the only person that ever really hit him was what, Sugar Shane Mosley?
Shane knocked him down, right?
Knocked him down, yeah.
Yep.
Other than him, I can't think of one person because
Oscar De La Hoya hit him.
oh
a
yeah,
couple
he
times.
did. Yeah,
But not a lot of clean shots, though. He punched a lot at him. But in people that don't know boxing, thought, oh, man, it's a close fight. But nothing really connected.
no, they were all, because Floyd had moved a little bit, so it was kind of a brush.
Right.
But
rolling with the punches,
but
you know.
Shane hit him head on.
Right. And Shane's one of those guys, man. I've always liked Sugar Shane, man.
Dude, he throws whales.
Yeah.
But back then, Floyd was taking major fights. He wasn't picking and choosing like he does now.
I mean,
And he's just so defensive.
people kill me with that too, though. Like all the haters, you know, like, oh, he fought this guy then. He fought. Yeah, he maybe he fought Pacquiao when Pacquiao wasn't on the rise anymore. But bro, it's still a business.
Still business.
Why am I
Pacquiao's
gonna take a
good
fight? Why am I gonna take a fight with a dangerous guy and the money's not there yet?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I've already did that. I'm at the top of my career. I'm not gonna take a fight.
No, it's called a smart fighter. Is what it's called, right? And,
Not like me when I was coming up. They was like, "Hey, you want to fight this UFC guy? My third fight." But, yeah, sure, no problem.
yeah, right idea.
You know, I've been training for 6 months. I was like, I was like, oh, no problem.
I hate that too because they act, and then after the fight, they said that Pacquiao had a bad shoulder, right? Well, if he had a bad shoulder, he was throwing pretty fucking good to me.
And that's on you anyway.
Yeah, hey, you chose to fight.
Your shoulder was not good enough to fight. Stay home.
It looked pretty good to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched that fight, but
I watched that fight. Was amazing. I watched that fight.
I don't think do you think his shoulder was bad?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I wasn't there, but
I mean, just
I'm
from
gonna tell
visually.
you, he didn't look injured to me, but that's kind of the nature of being a fighter. We all go into fights with injuries.
Yeah.
Right? Like I hurt my shoulder right before I fought Rico Rodriguez. I had a trainer stretch me too far, and I just went to the doctor the other day. After 10 years, I have no cartilage in my shoulder.
Oh.
It's like, let me put it to you in ways you understand. I said, what's going on? He was like, how old are you? I'm 39. He said, well, your shoulder's 79.
Thanks for the good news, right?
Yeah. Like, so what can I do? He said, just keep going until you can't take the pain. I was like, well, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But so, you know, it happens. You get injured, you fucking suck it up and you do it. Like, it's nothing to talk about, you know. You signed the contract, you got in the ring.
Hey, you got paid, pal. But look,
you signed up for it, bro.
That fight, Pacquiao gave everything he had, and Floyd was just on his game.
Man, he's just so hard to hit, and it makes you more tired when you throw punches and you miss them.
Hell yeah! And you know, people always say he's boring, but if you're into boxing and you know you're a fighter, I was a fighter for 6-7 years. You know, when I was younger, I'm into it, and I like those fights because you and we watch them with the points and the hits and how they're hitting the body to weaken the guy.
The technical end of it, you know.
Yeah.
But those drunk guys in the bar, they just want to see people well each other. You know, that's not boxing.
No, I like, because my trainer had always taught me when I was trying to get the golden gloves, as soon as the fighter gets in the ring, he's going to go like this. And whatever fist is higher is the weak spot in his jaw. So keep going at the body, because I was smaller. You know, keep going at the body until you get that opening where he puts that one down. And my trainer was right. Every single fight, when they would come out, whichever one was higher, 9 times out of 10 was the spot to hit. And I might have had to go 6-7 rounds and just, and take some blows, but hit the body.
Eventually, the hand's going to come down.
Because eventually, you're going to give them that kidney shot, or if you can get a good rib shot, which with the power you got. You hit somebody in the ribs with you go with a 1-2 rib on the right, and then back with the left in the kidney, a couple of them, they're going to go down a little bit with their hands.
The hands are going to come down.
And then as a boxer, you can right?
Well, those body shots fatigue you.
Hell yeah.
So eventually, your hands are just naturally going to come down. And if a guy's really welling you with a good liver shot, you're going to start dropping that hand to protect yourself, you know? So then you go right over the top.
That's what I was trained in. I think really that's how I won. And I put a lot of work in too.
Right.
You know?
Conditioning is one of the biggest parts of the fight game. Because no matter how talented you are, if you can't breathe,
you're done. I have a bag now at home, and I remember we used to, because in Golden Gloves they go 10. I don't know what they do now. They probably put it down to 4, and everybody gets a trophy. Who the hell knows?
Right.
But with that bullshit. But now I'll practice at home, but I'm not getting hit back. But, I'll time it as if I'm doing a round. After 3 rounds, I'm dead. And I work out every day and run. But then, you know how it is. I'm not getting hit back.
Right.
So I'm not getting that adrenaline that I usually would, where even if I'm tired, I'm so pumped from getting that punch, I'm ready. I don't need 30 seconds. Let's go.
And also cardio, running is not boxing conditioning.
Fuck no. Fuck no. Like, people need to understand
your shoulder, it's like everything's got a different training. You know, like, for you to be a boxer, you got to throw 1,000 punches.
At least.
A day. You know what I mean?
At minimum. Even as an amateur, you do.
All right.
Because you got to build that up, because what I think people don't realize, like you and I did, you on a way bigger level, but both of us, every time you're throwing, you're strengthening your shoulder, everything, not only to hit, but to take hits.
Right.
And your joints and everything else.
100%. People don't realize it. They think that you just go out there and throw punches.
We got to watch a fight together sometime.
Yeah, bro.
Because while all the other drunks just want to see a knockout, we can keep score.
Right.
That's what we think.
Yeah, man. I love being able to sit down and watch fights.
That's what I like,
it's
too.
The best.
I get a scorecard out and everything.
Do you really?
Yeah, I like it. Because I like the sport. You know what I mean?
For sure.
UFC, it's so fucking brutal. I have a tough time getting into it because it's just so fucking brutal.
Right. Well, and I think it's very similar to how some people portray boxing. Like, there's a technical side of it that you gotta, like, if you understood the technical side more fluently, then you'd be like, oh, actually, it's a lot more technical than boxing.
Yeah, when there's another big fight and you have it on at the club and you're not busy, or maybe it's your day off or something, I'll come and maybe you could show me like the technical, because I don't know the technical.
To it, it's like, it's positioning. It's like, how do you position yourself on the gate to not be trapped on the fence? How do you position yourself to trap a guy on the fence? What do you do when you get a guy on his back? How do you get from that position? I mean, it's so technical. It's like, if I would say boxing's checkers, then MMA's chess for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, because in boxing you're just looking at the blows
Right.
and marking down if it's a point or not, really,
Right.
and where the hit was.
Certain defenses in boxing you can't use in MMA because you get kneed in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very, very technical.
See, if I knew the technicals, I would look at it different.
Right.
I'm sure, because now I just look at it like, man, these guys are taking straight fists to the head, left and right, and kicks, and I'm
Some
like,
of them are just taking. You're right.
I mean, I'm just like, fuck. I mean,
Like, I don't like watching the girls because they beat the shit out of each other
I
so bad, man.
I can't watch it.
The girls bother me. I mean, because like they really beat the shit out of each other.
beat the fuck out of each other. Yeah.
More than the men do.
Yeah.
And their hearts are a lot bigger too, man. A girl that fights, she has a huge heart, man.
Right. And, just naturally, women bruise easier.
Yeah.
It's just genetics. And they're taking beating.
They fucking go at it, man. I can't watch them sometimes.
No, see, that's how I feel about the UFC. But if I would know the technical and more look at it as movements and where the points come from,
Right.
I'm sure I would look at it differently. So you got to teach me.
Yeah, for sure. Bro. I'm down.
So now you're at Monroes. So like, give me two out of all the places you've been, including Rick's. How was Rick's Cabaret? That used to be when I was a kid, Rick's Cabaret was like the biggest thing ever.
Right. So they're RCI, which owns and operates the Rick's location and Tootsies and all that stuff. They're one of the largest adult chains in the world. So working for them, and my mentor is the vice president of the company. I'm cool with the president of the company, and working for them was a very good experience. So Rick's was an amazing place to work. They let me completely go in there and do what I needed to do to get the numbers up and to fix it and get it going the right way. And the club's still doing good with me leaving. I left a good team in place, and they're fucking rocking it.
Man, they've been around forever too, right?
Oh, yeah. So they've been around probably 30, 40 years. Who the fuck knows? Maybe not 40 years. What's 40 years from now? Yeah, maybe 40 years.
I just remember in high school when we're all 15, 16, that's what people would talk about, Rick's Cabaret.
Yeah, so they've been around a long time. For sure, 30 years.
Yeah. What's the one in Pennsylvania that, what's her name, used to go to all the time? What's the big one in PA? It's in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Is it Delilah's?
I don't know. That's in Philly. I forget what it's called. I don't know. But a lot of big stars would go in there.
Really?
Yeah. And when you're a kid, you're like saving up money to go up there.
Right.
And shit.
I know they got a Rick's in Pittsburgh.
It might actually be
Rick's.
Rick's.
They have a Rick's in Philly, but now it's a Bucks Cabaret.
Okay, it's Rick's. It is Rick's. It is Rick's. But they, it was nothing like here. I think they might have. I think they could only go topless.
Right.
I don't think they could.
Yeah,
go.
some of those states are weird with the rules, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoy working for those guys. Those guys are still my friends. So it's all love,
What was the when you worked at Rick's? What because I think that everything you do in life, you can either look at as negative or whatever, or positive, or you can look at it, if it's negative or positive, as a gift, because like you worked at Rick's, but you left, but you've gotten a gift that stays with you that led you to where you're at now, that you apply, I'm sure, something you learned at Rick's to where you're at now that's going to exceed where you're at in 5 years.
Right.
What would you say you took from Rick's?
Yeah, you always kind of pick up something from everywhere you go. 'Cause in my thought process, you never really learn everything. So the day you learn it all, you got to just give it up because you're not going to get any better. But Rick's, I think, I learned organizational management of like multiple stores. The way they systems that will allow you to build multiple stores at a rapid pace.
Wow.
So
it's kind of a big thing to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of watch, and that's kind of how you learn. You sit back and watch, and you talk, and I talk to my mentor all the time, and I see, some of the back of the house stuff and how they go about acquiring different places and their process for going in and revamping the acquisition or whatever the case may be, and it's they're very good at it.
You're really tough. You're gonna run. You're gonna run one of these one day. I mean, run.
Right.
You are. You got it. You got it. You got it all put together. You really do.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
think of like two just fucking crazy stories throughout the 15, 16. I'm sure there's probably a million, but two that just pop out. They were just absolutely insane. Where you're like, is this fucking reality? Is this really fucking happening? And then like, what do I do here now?
Right.
I can only imagine how many of them there were.
Oh my God. Some of them I can't even say because I was involved on a certain level.
Yeah.
I probably don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want out there in the universe, but
no, because I'll get a conspiracy with
right.
You know what I mean? I don't have very good luck with that.
Spearmint Rhino day shift. I'm in the club. I'm running the day shift, and a guy comes in a Hooters girl outfit, like full on. White guy with glasses, chubby fat guy. I'm trying to paint the description for you here. 45 to 55, glasses, Hooters girl shirt, Hooters girl shorts, stockings, and the white shoes too.
Oh, no.
The full fucking outfit.
He had the white socks pulled up and everything.
The full outfit, bro.
Boy.
The full outfit
With black shoes on.
No, he had white shoes on.
White shoes.
They have the white
white
shoes. Yeah, they have the
man.
white shoes.
Oh boy.
So he came in the club, full outfit. He sits down, and I'm like taken back right now. I'm like, is this fucking happening right now? Like, I know it's weird shit going on in the world, but like this is pretty intense for a day shift at a strip club, right? The guy sits there for, maybe 5 minutes. One girl who goes up to any guy that comes in the club, because most girls is like, I'm not fucking dealing with this weirdo, right? So the one girl who made the most money in the club, honestly, because she always go up to any guy that's in the club and she can get on their level. She was really good at what she did. End up taking the guy to the friction room. And then next thing you know, the guy fucking started running out of the club. I guess he had finished in his pants in the friction room, and he like took off running. Out of literally sprint out of the club.
Sprint out of the club.
Sprint out running. But the crazy part about it, like you would think that doesn't happen a lot, the pants situation, but it does, honestly. The crazy part is that
I
the
guess
guy
you
was
hired
in a
good
fucking
now.
Hooters outfit. Wait, what the fuck is going on?
I don't know, bro.
And you had to be there to see it, because even this story, like I'm telling you right now, is weird, but you can't really sense the gravity of what I'm telling you until you witness a 55-year-old white guy with glasses walk into your club in a Hooters girl outfit.
Yeah, that beats the one I was gonna come back with yet, because I went over to Benny's on the beach, and I saw this guy, and I sat down at the bar. He had like a fucking weird like cowboy hat on, shit, like ripped up shirt. Shoes looked like he, walked through the mud to get there. I mean, it looked like he had $2 to his pocket. Later to come to find out, he owns the Four Seasons Motel over here. Not owns, he's the main guy.
Right.
Probably making fucking. What do you think?
There's some rich guys that do dress like that on a consistent basis because they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They don't have to.
Especially down here, you never know. When I was working over there at the Breakers doing that Italian restaurant, when I had the engineering firm, I would see guys walk in there. You would never think in a million years had more than, a couple grand in their bank account. Meanwhile, the guy would pull their car up, rolls. One was a Bugatti, the $2 million car.
Wow.
And this guy's in like a fucking like Hanes t-shirt, shorts that are wrinkled as hell, flip-flops, didn't cut his toenails, and balling.
Yeah, I had one of my fight managers was like that. The guy was fucking owned a cruise line and hotels and all kinds of shit.
Never know.
And he didn't have any flashy clothes. He wore like jeans from like maybe Walmart. They're not even like name brand stuff he was wearing. His shirts would look faded and all. And the guy was.
You know how long his bank account is though, probably.
I do. It was really, really long.
So while me and you sit here and we're saying, he's wearing Hanes, yeah, his bank account is from here to the moon.
Yeah.
He can support 10 generations.
I got to get like that, honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, you got the head and the brains.
Right. So one more story is we used to have a guy that used to come in the Tootsies back in the day, and he'd come in with like a brown paper sack. And in the brown paper sack, he had high heels.
What?
Fishnets and a thong. And he would go in the room, change over, and then pay girls. He'd get on all fours and pay girls to punt him in the balls.
Like punt, like a football.
Yeah, like
Wow,
field goal kicked his balls.
that's the topper. That would be the topper. I don't think you could beat that.
I have some other great stories I have to tell you when we're not recording.
All right. Well, as for recording purposes, that is got to be.
That's pretty.
top.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty.
And you're running the club when this is happening.
I was a VIP host when this was happening. So it was pretty intense because the girls all loved it because there's a certain sense of like the girls really want to abuse some of the guys that come in there because they're such cocksuckers, you know.
Yeah, because they treat them like they're
right.
They're
so the
like
girls
animals.
imagine girls getting paid
To kick somebody
to
in the
kick
balls.
in the ball.
They're probably lined up to take them to the VIP. Right.
It's just all kinds of crazy stuff. Guys that want to be pissed on. I mean, you can just imagine the kinks that's out there in the world and how a guy with money can come in and live out his weirdest fantasies sometimes, you know. And a lot of it has nothing to do with sex.
Yeah.
It's sexual for them, but it's not actually sex, you know. Like this guy getting kicked in the balls. I don't think you and I think that's sexual at all.
It's not. No, it sounds very painful, actually, and I hope it never happens.
And to pay for it on top of that.
Yeah, to pay for it.
He can literally go anywhere and get that done for free.
Even though I'm way smaller than you, if either of us got kicked in the balls, I'm going after him right now.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
No, I'm not a fan of that. And I'm sure as fuck not going to pay for it.
Right.
That's the top.
And I don't know how the fishnets and the heels got involved. It's like, I don't know how that like you got a lot of things working there. That's weird.
Okay,
you know?
so let's think about this. So the heels maybe so he's higher up when he bends
he was on all fours.
But maybe with the heels it gets a better position to hike the
man.
ball type of thing. I don't know. Now the fishnets, that's where I'm confused.
Yeah, that's weird. And why does he got to put a thong on too? Like the girls when the girls saw him, they'd all get so happy to see him because they know that they get ready to go punish this guy. 30 minutes, this guy getting kicked in the ball straight, 30 minutes.
I hope he doesn't want to ever have kids or anything. Actually, I hope he does.
I hope he don't have kids. He's a fucking weirdo.
Now, let me ask you this. When the girls go to kick him in the balls, are they kicking him with that 4-inch?
You know, I don't know.
Pretty good question.
I never wanted to be involved with it. I just hear the stories. They come out and tell me the stories, and I'm like, man, that's fuck. And he also liked them to step on his balls with the heels. Of the shoe.
Man!
So I guess they did keep the shoes on.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a weirdo.
I would highly recommend.
And you would never know it by looking at him. He's just a normal, run-of-the-mill guy. Come in, little fucking brown paper black. It's just weird.
That's the topper. That I don't think you could beat that. Even if it's something crazy off camera, that's the topper.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's crazy.
So you got you got 2 kids now, right?
Yeah.
Boy and girl, 2 girls.
Yeah, 2 girls.
You got 2.
I got one on the way.
What, boy or girl?
Girl.
You knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah, it's my karma.
I got girl too.
Yeah.
I'm sure Joey's got all girls.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's just
So I got, but my oldest is Isabella Gianna, and then
cool name.
My baby now is Aria Capri,
Love the name.
and then I got Adriana Milan coming.
Definitely got Italian anybody.
Yeah. So
why
it's
not?
like a homage to my dad. My dad used to own a pawn shop here in Palm Beach.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. When's she coming?
August 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got 3. Now you got 4 girls to deal with.
Yeah.
Boy. I don't know. 4 girls.
Please don't remind me.
Well, I'll stop it there so you're not in the doghouse when this comes out, right? You're like, hey, Tommy, you fucked me. So where do you want to be in 5 years? And I'll let you get out of here.
5 years.
What's your 5-year goal?
Honestly, you know, my goals are focused around providing wealth for my kids. So I'm looking at to maybe doing some real estate investing eventually. Obviously professional growth. But honestly, it's just about being in a position where when I'm older, I can still help my kids, man. So that is my job that I'm currently in. I'm never leaving Monroes again. I promised Scotty that I wouldn't leave. And there's no reason to leave, right? So that's part of it. And then the other part is having those investments starting to pay off and provide even better life for my kids, you know?
Can you franchise a Monroes? Yeah. Do they do that?
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure anything's on the table for the right price.
Yeah, maybe one day you franchise
So,
one. You know?
You never know. I mean, Scotty's a good guy. I mean, he takes very good care of me. So, you know, I'm not worried about that end of it because he takes very good care of his guys, man, and it's been an absolute pleasure working there. And the company's going to grow. We just bought a club in Syracuse. So there's potential for growth, obviously, in the company. So I'm like I said, I'm not going anywhere. And professionally, it's just a great decision for me to work there, you know?
Great. And is there a quota that needs to be met every month? Because, you know, the billboards,
right.
I mean, it's great that it's paid off, the building.
Right.
You know?
So, you know.
I don't want to know what the quota is.
Right.
I
would never even mention numbers. I get killed if I mention numbers.
No, I'm just asking if there's a quota. And if you can't answer that,
any good sales company or sales team should always set sales goals. So, right. We do have sales goals, and those goals are aligned with what we need to operate and where we want to be profitability-wise, et cetera. So, there are sales goals, and we are crushing the sales goals. So
fantastic, and good for you.
But the problem with crushing them is that Scotty always moves the chains.
Yeah, because now that's expected, right?
Right. Well, so it's all good.
He's a good businessman too, right? Because he keeps pushing you.
Keeps us pushing.
Because if he's like, good job, Mario, you're great, then you're content, and you're like, oh, I did it. But if he's like, all right, well, I expect this, then it keeps you pumping and makes you better in return, you know?
I was having this conversation with a guy earlier today about the level of expectations working with Scott and how it's really pushed me into a space where I want to be better. Then, you know, like I'm never going to settle, one, because I'm just not built that way, but two, it just keeps me on my toes, keeps me honest with it, and I appreciate it, you know. So I was telling them that growing up as an athlete, you're accustomed to that anyway with your coaches, you know. Coaches push you, and Scotty's one of the best coaches I've ever had in the business. So I think, you know, I'm appreciative of the sales goals and the expectations, etc. You know.
Well, it's making you a better employee. It's making you a better person, and also to progress. And
it forces you to learn. You know.
Yeah. Well, like you said, when you're playing sports at the level that we did, it's never good enough. Right. Never. No matter what.
Can always work hard.
Never good enough. And I sounds like you were raised old school. My grandfather was never good enough. Didn't matter what.
Yeah, my granddad owned a concrete business, so I grew up working in the South Florida sun, pouring concrete. So just imagine, and he would run the shit out of me too.
And what happened? What happened if you got in a fight and you came home?
The first thing they asked is, did I win? That's the first thing. Then they want to know why. And then, you know, as long as everything checked out, then I was in no trouble, you know?
Yeah, pretty much the same with me. My grandpa would say, well, what does the other guy look like? Right. And then I'd be like, no, he's worse than me. Like, okay, well, let's go check. He'd actually take me and check. And as long as I didn't look worse than the other guy, all right.
Right. That's like the first question. Did you win?
Yeah.
I got in a fight. Did you win?
But if I got beat up, I got my ass kicked again when I got home. You can't do that nowadays.
I got in trouble.
You did too. Yeah.
Right.
Not my ass kicked.
Because I guess when I was really young, I didn't like fighting at all. Honestly, when I was elementary grade, I was like,
me too.
Not confrontational.
No,
I didn't. I felt uncomfortable, you know. But now, I'm in this place where, you know, I'm really any occasion I can rise to.
I was just.
We can go as crazy as you want to go. I can go.
Too. I hated confrontation. I avoided it like the plague. But then as I got older and got into sports, my grandfather and, you know, he forced me to do things I didn't want to do and wasn't comfortable. And now, just like you.
Yeah. I'm not seeking it out, but when it comes, I'm ready.
Right. I don't want it, and I'll avoid it as much as I can. But like you, if it comes, it comes. And I'm not afraid to get beat up. You know, we all get beat up. Fuck. You know,
and
as long as you put up and you do your best.
If you fight back, whether you beat up or not, then you still did what you were supposed to do.
Because you're a man.
Right, and they're not going to come back the second time.
No, because even if they beat you up, they don't want a couple hits that we can get on them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, because they know it might go a different way the next time. You know.
Yeah.
So, standing up is what you got to do, whether win or lose. You know.
Yeah. Seriously, last thing this time. Now take 2022, the club, and take 10 years ago. The difference in everything as far as like what you can do, what you can't do, new rules, new regulations. Is it the same in that lane?
No, man. This is totally different. This is a legitimate business now. And with all the litigation that's happened over the past decade, you are forced to be a professional at all times. And some of the dinosaurs in the business just don't have a place. You know, so like I said earlier, you got to treat it like a business. It is a business. Most of these places are doing multi-million dollars a year. You know, even in some of the smaller, shittier clubs, they're doing $2-3 million a year.
No, I couldn't believe it.
It's a real business. You know, when you're making that type of money, it's not a game.
Right.
And then with, you know, all of the class action lawsuits with employment classification and labor laws and all that stuff, you really got to cross your T's and dot your I's, and you have to be a professional, because if you're not, then when people leave, they take stuff personal, you know. So one of the things I always, you know, try to do is, if you stay professional and you're firm and you're fair and you're consistent, then when it's time to drop the hammer, you don't have an enemy. You have a person that understands that they fucked up.
Great.
And that prevents a lot of the stuff that happens after the fact. You know, with, you know, a girl pissed off and then now all of a sudden she wanted to be an employee and not a subcontractor and blah, blah, blah. But if you're a professional and again, you're firm, fair, and consistent, then it's not a personal vendetta that makes a person go after you illegally or whatever the case may be. So
when did you see that change happen? Like, what year did it really, like, you know, like you walked into work? Because I know they did it with the bars when I had them. It was just like overnight. Like one day everything fucking was different.
Right. You know, I wish I could put a finger on it.
Like around.
But I think it probably happened a lot sooner than I think. But like I said, in my 20s working at Tootsies, I was not thinking about consequences or
rules,
back of the house, or following the rules. I did everything in the business that you shouldn't do, right? So it probably happened around that time, right? But when I got to Spearmint Rhino and I became a manager there, I came in as an MIT, and shortly after I was a shift manager. Then you start learning about the back of the house stuff, like the lawsuits and all this stuff, and then, you know, just naturally always want to pick up something to make myself better, find some more knowledge on it. So I start digging into it and looking at it. And I would say that I noticed it probably 2014.
Yeah.
I started noticing it, maybe 2012. You know, it just kind of, there was a shift because, and it could have something to do with the market and the leverage that the club had. You know, it's a much smaller club and a much smaller market. And the girls were much different than the Miami girls. The Miami girls they don't give a fuck. They're making $3 to $5 grand a night.
I know. I couldn't believe it. I met plenty of them.
They don't give a damn what you're doing or what you're saying.
I actually had a couple of friends down. Like, they were friends, not fucking them. Like friends. They were just cool, you know. Actually, my friend was fucking them. My friend, you know what I mean? But and they would be like, "Yeah, I made $4,000." I said, "Get that fuck out of here! You didn't make no $4,000." And then we would go to dinner with them the night after. And lo and behold, the woman had 5,500 on her. I said, "Damn, I'm in the wrong business."
Listen,
I've seen it with my own eyes.
It's more common than uncommon that they make $2 to $4 grand a night.
Unbelievable.
No matter what club they're in, almost.
And a lot of them are just doing it to send it back home to their family in other countries and stuff. You know,
they got houses over there, whatever the case may be. So I mean, I don't think the adult nightclub business ever gonna be like it used to. Well, you know, there was a time where girls were getting thrown in dumpsters and you know, I caught the tail end of that. So I would say probably I noticed a change back in 2003, you know, because 2004, because, you know, I was banging this girl that worked at the old Gold Rush. It's where 11 is now.
Yeah.
And, you know, those guys threw her in a dumpster once. And I had to go and get her money back from them and everything because, you know,
the whole fucking
it's old school. She wasn't tipping, and it was like, hey, fucking, they kept the 500 and they fucking tossed out the building. She got mouth and threw it in a dumpster. And that was the old school.
That was the way it was back then.
And I was a tail end, and you know, and that club was a rarity because most clubs had already shifted at this point. But you know, some of those mom and pop spots, you know, the owner in the building playing around, having a good time all the time. You know, you're subjected to whatever he think is okay. You know,
and that's how it's gonna go or leave. You know, they're stuck in their ways.
But now it's gonna cost you money.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have made the shift, and it actually strengthened the business, and it's better. It's a better business because people have to be professional,
more controlled.
Yeah, and it's made people make with the companies like RCI, Spearman, Rhino, even Monroes as a 2-club company. It's just made it a better environment to generate revenue and limit liabilities. You know.
Yeah, I can only imagine the numbers in some of them lawsuits. So if somebody's watching this now, well, it doesn't have to be a gentleman's club. Just if they're managing, what advice would you give them if they encounter a situation like maybe you're at Monroes and you have a customer that's just completely out of control? The employee that you guys hired is two people are out of control. One customer, one employee. As a manager, what advice would you give to anybody? Just because people get this in their fucking head that because it's a gentleman's club, it's not a business like we've been talking about. It's a fucking business. So just because there's girls there dancing, the business side of it's the same. You're there to make money. You're trying to make the most profit as possible and have the environment as enjoyable as possible for the client so they come back.
Right.
So what's some advice, being that you've done this 20 years now that I looked back? It's been about, you're at like 19 from like whatever, when I looked. So after doing this for 19 years, what advice would you give to somebody that's managing a company, business, club, whatever it may be, when they have an issue with an employee and a client have an issue? What advice would you give in handling that situation?
Don't take it personal. That's the first thing. So many people take what's going on personal and they make it about them. It has nothing to do with you. Listen to what they're telling you. Respond in the best interest of the business or club or whatever the case may be, and do it with respect and allow people to keep their dignity, you know. So, and ultimately, you're not always right.
Yeah.
So you got to understand.
That's cool that you can admit that.
Yeah, nobody's always right. You might make mistakes, and you can't be afraid to go back and fix it. Hey, you know what? I was wrong when I said that to you. You're right.
See, that right there is why you survive. Two things I've noticed about you. You have an open mind. So you're open-minded. You're willing to learn. You don't get content. You like to be pushed. And two, look at both sides because you could be wrong. That, to me, those two things there are why you've been able to run this for... Bro, can you name anybody else other than some huge fucking guy that can run a gentleman's club for 17, 18 years?
Right.
There ain't many of you, man.
No, they don't last long, a lot of people. And they bounce around a lot, you know. So that, I mean...
It's good advice.
You just gotta be willing, because if it's a complaint, then there might be some legitimacy to what they're saying, right? So you gotta first listen to understand what's going on, you know. So you can't overtalk them. You gotta just listen. A lot of times, just listening solves the problem.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Right?
Because when you listen, you're not sparking anybody's temper. You're hearing them out calmly, and then you're like a negotiator,
right?
Like basically. A fucking terrorist. I probably can't say that word. You're a fucking negotiator, right. Mario the negotiator. So, but what do you do when they, like, the client just won't stop? Do you handle it, or is that when you leave it to somebody else to carry him the fuck out of there?
No, we have a system that I've created for. I call it ejecting a guest from the building.
Casket?
And
Eject right to the casket.
It involves not actually touching them at all. We don't ever want to, because anytime you touch a person when they're upset, it escalates the situation.
Imagine that lawsuit, buddy.
Right. So, it involves
fucking 10 million.
It involves what I said earlier, listening, and then having patience, because in any bar, almost always the bar is the reason why the guest is drunk and fucked up, right? Any 100%. Bar in America. So we're selling you the vehicle that got you to that point. The least I can do is have patience and listen to you.
Yeah.
So many people and everybody, why do you have so much patience? Because we're responsible.
And it's a fucking business,
right.
And you run the business, and you're only making the business look like shit if you act like
imagine you particularly in our building, I told you we cater to upper echelon guests, business professional.
I know who
those guys don't take ass whoopings.
No,
you're gonna beat their ass, okay, and then you'll see a letter from their lawyer a week later. You know, so it's not like
I could probably give you 5 names that you would probably see, and they're names that you really don't want to go up against.
Right. It's not like Space back in the early 2000s throwing people down that fucking stairwell on the way out. You know, they're fucking mollied out. They're not probably not even gonna remember. But that fucking guy that maybe an attorney himself, he's not gonna wear that ass whooping with no repercussions.
Oh no.
So you know, it's just different. It's a different ball game. You know.
Well, you sound like you. The hours, that's what I want. How do you deal with the fucking... What's your hours? That's got to be the worst part of it, right?
You know, I don't mind the work. It just, you know, it's a small sacrifice of time with the family here and there, but that's the only thing that bothers me about it. It's not the actual hours of work. I can work 20 hours straight if I need to. It's just a sacrifice of that family time, you know? But it's for the betterment in the long run, you know. So
it's for the greater good.
Right. So you know, I grew up in a very traditional household, and when my dad was alive, it was very traditional. He was, you know, he was an earner, and you know, and then my grandfather was the same way. So it's kind of always what I looked at growing up. So it's kind of the behavior that's been modeled for me my whole life. So I understand the need for me to be the earner and my girlfriend's the nurturer, you know, so that's kind of what I grew up with. So I'm okay with it in the long run, and it's not really that bad.
What are the hours usually?
So with this last week, I worked 6 days. I did, you know, 8 hours on Monday. I did probably another 8 hours on Tuesday. Oh no, I mean,
like, what time do you go in, and then what time do you leave usually?
So it varies. Like Monday, I went in at 5 a.m. because I had to do inventory, and I left around 6 at night.
Damn.
And then
5 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah, and then Tuesdays I normally do my meetings and stuff, so I got a small break in between. And then if it's a payroll week, I'm there till probably 2 a.m. in the morning, going at 11 a.m. And then you know, this week with boat show in town, I did a couple 4 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. shifts. So
on average, how many hours of sleep you got?
About 4.5, 5 hours
That's
tops.
Where I'm at.
Yeah, I honestly I can't sleep longer. The only time I sleep longer is when after weeks of not sleeping more than 4 hours.
Me too.
Then my body finally crashes.
You know what? If I get 6 hours, I feel like shit. I feel better at 4 than 6.
I do. If I sleep like a long time, then I'm no good. I want to just keep sleeping.
Yep, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny. I was raised the same way too. My family told me this. Because, you know, they're old school. They were right off the boat, dying. Everybody worked till they died. Till they died, they were working.
Right.
And they said, you're here to protect, reproduce, and provide. That's all that was through my head.
That's all I watched my whole life.
That's all I watched, too. And if I didn't, believe me, I was let know this is how you're going to be. Protect, provide, and reproduce. That's it.
Right. I mean, and at the core of everything,
it's pretty fucking true.
That's what I always try to make comparisons to, like the animal kingdom, right? So
it's true though.
The king's always the male species always you go find an animal where the male species not protecting something.
You don't find it,
right?
You don't.
So there you go.
I mean, I have a little
nature.
I have a little 1-year-old, and I have 2 French bulldogs. One's like a show dog, you know, really. He could go 100 miles an hour at that ball, wouldn't even faze him. But when he's around my daughter, he'll sit right in front of her and will guard everything.
Right.
He's kind of the calm one. And then I have a little French bulldog that jumps around and shit. And when he sees her when my dog Guido sees the little dog like jumping around too much near the baby, Guido jumps right in front of the baby, and he's there in front of her so that if Camilla, the little one, comes, he's there to like push her off.
Right.
And my point of saying that is because it's the same thing. Like the dog is there. The dog knows that this is a little girl and a baby, and he's there to protect.
Right.
You know?
It's nature.
And he'll fuck anything. My dog broke the fucking statue at the vet. I'm surprised it didn't make me pay for it. Guido started hitting it from behind and knocked the head off the statue.
That dog got to be fucking powerful.
Strong. Well, I was
the strongest French bulldog again.
Yeah. Well, I was going through a divorce at the time, so I didn't want to be alone, and I didn't want to get a sick dog. So I went and got this crazy like stud, the gray French, they call him blue, French bulldog. When he was 6 months, the dog had biceps.
Wow.
His mom and dad were jacked, and he don't breathe like. This dog can run 30 miles right now,
Wow.
But real nice, protective, good dog, well behaved. But
Awesome.
thank you for your time, Mario.
No,
I know you're a busy
appreciate you
guy.
having me on.
I was just really interested in how like the logistics of all that work. And I hope you come back in again because I got a lot
For
more.
sure,
I just
bro.
don't want to kill up all the little bit of time that you do have. But congratulations on
Thank
everything, man. Congratulations on another woman in your life, boy.
Yeah, right?
Good luck. Good fucking luck.
Oh, I know. I'm done. I already know it.
You're done for. I have one, and my house was a bachelor pad. Like, really, really nice. It's Kids Are Us.
Yeah.
I'll get a granola bar. Might as well just put it on the floor. The wrapper, throw it on the floor. What the fuck doesn't matter?
Yeah.
It's over. It's over now,
Yeah.
buddy. Our lives are over.
Trust me, I know. You come to my house and we got a large play area right in front of the TV. So
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too. So I have the TV, we have a gate, and then the rest
Yep.
of my extremely nice, like, living room, like, table, kitchen table, fake fireplace, for girls back in the day that always worked, now has a tent in it with toys everywhere.
Yep. Yep.
So any of you guys thinking about being a father, make sure you're fucking ready.
Even back when I was like on the prowl and I had my oldest with me all the time, I never took the child seat out of the car. The child seat. I get it. Like a bunch of strippers jumping in the car and they're like, "What? You got a child seat?" Sometimes they even sit in the child seat. That's a little weird. But
Yeah, when I got the child seat in one of the cars we have, I go, oh, this is weird. The child seat.
so I go out, so I have to go out and promote and meet people. That's part of the gig, working in nightlife. So I would take girls with me, and they get in my back then. I had a Dodge Charger, and they all jump in the Dodge Charger, and I got a child seat in the on the right side of the car. Like,
Well, if you were single,
4 or
it might
5
be a
girls.
pussy magnet.
right?
But being that you're not single,
I don't know if they actually like the child seat, but I didn't give a fuck because it's about your kid at the end of the day.
yeah,
Give a
yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
You take it or leave it because the kid's a part of the life.
But on the first one, I don't know if it was for you, but it was one fucking hell of an adjustment for 6 months.
It was an adjustment because here I am, I was working in Miami at Tootsies at the time, which, wow, that's crazy. She's 10, so I've been in Palm Beach for over 10 years. But I was working in Tootsies at the time. I get off work at Tootsies, go to Scarlett's. Scarlett's closed at 8 a.m., right? So we get out at 6.
Forever.
We go there. They close at 8. We have a couple drinks. I recruit girls to go to Space.
Space.
Then we go to Space till 2. Then I go maybe take a nap or go to a pool party or go to Mecca. And then and then go from there back to work and do it all again the next day.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of an adjustment period there, but I had to like get all that shit out of my system and come back to reality because that's partially the reason I left Miami too. It's like
Yeah, that's too much.
the nightlife in Miami, to be down in, you got to be on the scene all the time.
All the time.
It's really like it's a whole nother world. So that it's part of the okay. I'm not gonna be a good dad down here. Let me leave.
No, it's impossible.
Yeah,
It's impossiple.
it takes
Unless
too
you're
much.
like a fucking alien. And if you are, I'd like
Right.
to interview you because I'd
Right.
like to know a lot. I have a lot of questions if you are.
Yeah, that Miami thing. The Miami life is just a party nonstop.
Yeah, it's okay once in a while, in and out, but fuck that.
Yeah.
To me, that's South Philly with palm
I
trees.
saved like maybe 20 years off my life by not living and staying in Miami. So
Well, I'm sure you did. For me, the first 8 months I was like, fuck, this is some shit here, boy. But then once she got a little bit older and started like looking for me, and then I walked in the house and she ran up to me, and
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
the
oh,
best.
fuck. Prior to that, I was like, oh, boy. Yeah,
just sleeping and shitting at that point,
yeah, it's like sleeping, crying. You can't watch a fucking TV show, movie, forget it. You can't do anything.
And now that they're one, you got to watch fucking Coco Melon with them.
Coco, man, I can sing it to you. Here comes the school bus, boom, boom, boom. All the kids go, duh, duh, duh. I know, it's all on all the time.
I thought when my oldest was, like, when I had my first child and we got past the fucking Dora the Explorer and Aquanauts and all that shit, I was like, whew. Now I can watch, like, some decent cartoons that I can actually stomach, and then now I'm right back in the same boat.
I tried to put on Ren and Stimpy, and she wasn't having
Right.
it. I tried the Beavis and Butthead.
Right.
Wasn't having
I
it.
do like I force like the comic book characters on there, so it's like my oldest.
They're a little bit. That's a little bit. I'm on Coco Melon
Right.
in my fucking head all
Right.
day and all night. You know what I mean? But what are you gonna do? But yeah, man. When I was like and then that day when she ran up and like went and never did that because ever. Then that's when I was just like, all right. My mom was right. Where's my fucking wallet? Might as well just give it to you now.
right.
You know what I mean? You're done. You're done.
But it's a good feeling though. It's worth it.
It changes you.
Yeah,
it
for
changes
sure.
You mature
Definitely
real quick
changed
and you
me.
make. Oh yeah.
That was a fucking very
Crazy
I'll just say, wow.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
22 years old in the best shape of my life, pro fighter in Miami. I mean, because that scene in Miami, when I got into the fight game, if you were a fighter in Miami, like you were like a little fucking celebrity in Miami at the time, So it was like I came up with George Masvidal. I recruited George Masvidal for the All-American top team.
Really?
Yeah, he was on Bulldog Fights with me.
Wow, you're on Bulldog Fights with you.
Yeah.
Wow, you're lucky you got out of there.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah, you're lucky. You would have definitely taken a lot of time off your life, but
So that was crazy.
But
cool, man.
Cool, man. Thank you for coming in,
I
man.
appreciate
And
you,
you got to show me the UFC, one of the next big fights.
Okay, for sure. I'm
Definitely,
down.
man. Keep in touch.
Yep.
Definitely come back in again whenever you got an hour to get back in.
All right, bro.
All right, man.
Cool,
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, brother.
Bro.
Thank you.